Good evening, everyone. I am one of your hosts for Pro Wrestling Live, Angel Rivera. Unfortunately, my co host Steph cannot be here tonight because she's sick. She has the flu and she's not feeling well, so she can't even talk. So she's here in chat, though, so I'll be
He's
putting her
here in
name up
spirit.
throughout the night. Yep, she's here in
There she
spirit. I was
is.
going to say we're the A team, but unfortunately, one of the A team is missing. So she's here in chat, though. So she'll be here tonight, all throughout the night. And this is D and Greg. Welcome both to the show.
Good to be
Ooh,
back.
Oh,
yes, yes.
Ellen, I mean, we the show that we did, the first show we did, it got almost 100 views, and Indy was like, "Holy crap, that's impressive for a second episode." It's like, well, I mean, we all clicked. It seemed like, and people are entertained by us. So,
I galvanized my 11
yeah,
followers.
Yeah, yeah, me
that
too.
Sting match.
Yeah, me
Steph
too. I was like,
already,
yo,
Steph already chiming in. That Sting match was garbage. We'll get to that match in a
oh
moment, but
yeah.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on how all that went down.
yeah. So I'm gonna start off with my predictions because I put out predictions before the show.
I told you Cassidy was going to lose.
So these are I circled my predictions there. I mean, so you can see it barely. But this is what I hate about Restream. You can barely see anything. All right, here we go. So I started the All Star 8-man scramble was in the bottom. I had Wardlow winning. Did he win?
Yes, Wardlow did win.
Yeah, he did.
That match was a
Okay.
mess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure it was. I didn't watch that match. So,
You're lucky.
so the next match was Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takashita. Take a
Takeshita.
shit. Oh, take shit. Okay. Well,
Takeshita.
who won that? Will Ospreay, right?
Will
I had that
Ospreay did
wrong again.
win.
Oh.
Yep.
I should have picked him because he was Davies' first match, but I was like,
Yeah.
let me pick Take a Shit, whatever. All right. So, what do you think about that match? Because that match, I saw that match and it was garbage. It wasn't a wrestling match.
The
Man,
will.
it had the potential to be a really good match, but they couldn't slow down for 1 second and sell and
Right.
actually make
No,
it look like a wrestling match instead of like a choreographed dance routine.
And that's
Because
how.
that's exactly.
they worked snug. They beat the
Yeah.
shit out of each other, but they didn't
Yeah.
sell anything. So it's like, why are you
No,
taking those bumps
there was
if you're
this
not
one
going to sell the
infamous.
boot?
There was a clip on Twitter I saw where Osprey did no, it was Take a Shit did 2 or 3 moves on him, and he popped
Devastating
right back
moves.
up. He popped right
Devastating
back up
moves.
Yeah,
like,
that was
"Hey,
the one
what's
that he
up?"
did like hulked up and shit. He was
Yeah,
like,
he's like, "Arr." I'm like, no, you can't Hulk up. You're not Hogan. You can't get away with that.
That's what I'm
You're not.
saying, man. These guys are getting dropped on their head and they're popping
Yeah,
right
right.
back up.
you cannot get away with that because you're not Hogan. You're not a top superstar. You just debuted in the company.
To
Did you
to
see it?
Chiquita.
It broke Dave Meltzer's star rating system. It actually got 6 stars.
I can't
If
say his real name
anybody's
because
surprised about that.
Cornette's saying take a shit all the time. Yeah, I mean that's why I was like, oh, I just started calling him that too.
Brian
To
Last has
Chiquita, he
always
tried
tried
his
to get him to
best,
call him
man.
Takeshita.
To,
It's
yeah,
like, come on, he's
Takeshita.
earned that name.
Takeshita. Yeah, he tried. He tried, but he did kind of like sell towards the end a little bit. He tried. He tried, but well,
It's, it's
what?
garbage.
Yeah, I
All right.
prefer Takeshita of the two.
Yeah, he could be the better worker, if he doesn't hang around Osprey. But
And Osprey's already back off to England.
oh
He
yeah, that's
he
another
worked
thing
he
I
worked
wanted
two
to bring up.
matches and was
Yeah,
like, "Thanks for the check, Tony."
yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up a little later. But let's we had FDR versus FTR versus Moxley and Castagnoli. By the way, did you see those two guys dressed up like cosplaying as the Road Warriors?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
so just.
They
yeah.
cosplayed as the Road
Way
Warriors.
off.
John
I'm like,
Moxley sucks.
oh, he's the
He
worst.
does.
And he
He
was
does.
good in WWE. He was decent in WWE. And now he forgot all that and is like, let me go back to being the shitty indie guy, garbage match guy that I always was.
This match, I didn't watch much of. It's hard for me to watch a Moxley match, and I like FTR, so that was kind of sad.
Yeah,
It's hard to watch
Moxley.
Moxley work.
I
It's.
was hoping for FTR victory, but of
did you
course,
see?
Moxley.
Did you see Cornette's quote? Or did Cornette
Yeah,
reviewed the match. He goes, "He looks like your uncle that sells weed getting in a fight
Oh,
at a family picnic."
wow.
yeah.
Oh, and I was like, that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Animal and Hawk would kill John Moxley. He wouldn't be able to stop them.
Yeah, bro. Don't. How are you gonna disrespect the freaking
Yeah.
Road Warriors by
The
cosplay?
excuse was, well, I mean, they're in Greensboro, and the Road Warriors got famous in Greensboro, so that's why they dressed up as the Road Warriors. They cosplayed as them. But
Yeah, I
again,
But
think
you know, it works. It works for that fan base, so they all probably.
yeah,
right.
they loved it.
But you could tell with Moxley, and Moxley's not that big, but you could tell that little thing was just a little bit too small. I think they just found that like on the last minute, like back
Uh,
room, digging for something. It
yeah,
was a little small for him.
yeah, it was stupid. All right, the TNT title match: Christian Cage versus MPC Daniel Garcia, as I call him.
That's a good nickname.
Mhm.
This was just like a TV match. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that was filler. Christian
It was
Cage
a
obviously
TV match.
retained, blah blah blah. So it was forgettable. I don't remember much about that match. The next match, Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson for that Continental Championship, whatever the hell it's called. That match was awful. It was in
This
one
was
word,
a
awful.
man. What happened to Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
I used to enjoy him in AEW,
Yes,
and
when he
like for the
first
last
started.
year and a half, everything he's done has been garbage, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He
because
had
he
such a good heel character when he first came into AEW, and they made a mistake by not having him beat Hangman Page all the way back when they had their feud. They
he
probably
should
should
have
have
been
put the belt on
at that moment he
Danielson.
should have been the AEW World Champion. At
Yeah,
that
You
that
moment,
was
I'm
the
talking
best
about.
character work Danielson has done
Yeah.
in AEW.
and,
When he was that
and,
cocky prick heel that was better than
Yeah, and
everybody.
yeah, because he was in WWE, so that was like the implication. I'm better than you. Blah blah. I made a man at WrestleMania. He never said that, but that was the implication that he was. He was running around like he was better than anybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
ever
it might,
since
Stowe, thank you
then.
for joining us tonight.
and it
Oh
might
yeah,
think
but
with
yeah, the match itself was a disgrace to professional
Oh,
yeah,
wrestling.
that's embarrassing.
and that's
Eddie
another thing too.
Kingston should be
I
a
could go on
manager.
about that match. Whoops.
Eddie Kingston should be a manager.
Ain't
Like
Yeah,
gonna
and that's the
happen.
other thing
he
too,
should
man.
not be working.
With
He was
Brian,
No.
terrible.
when he came
Did you
in,
see?
I'm sorry,
And
when
I
he
like
came
Eddie
in,
Kingston on the
it took
mic,
a
but I can't
while.
watch him wrestle. It's pathetic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It just looks like a slob out
Eddie.
there.
If he just lost some weight, like 40 pounds or something, and he got into, I'm not
At
talking,
least try.
like Kevin Owens. He's not in the best shape either, but at least
he could wrestle.
He
yeah,
looks like he's at
yeah,
least in good shape and athletic
yeah,
shape. You know what I mean?
yeah. He's not like your prototypical WWE superstar, but he's in
Eddie
shape.
Kingston looks like he just got off the couch.
Yes, he's like a drunk, just got off the couch drinking a bunch of beers. Like, oh, I can wrestle, and
Come to AEW.
Danielson, yeah, and Danielson puts him over. That's
Yeah,
the
I know.
worst part to me.
I think
with the
I think what they're gonna do is I think they're gonna have Okada take that belt off Kingston,
Yeah, because they already set up
and then
that
have
feud, which is
Okada go
another
all over the
issue.
world with that.
Which is another issue that I
Classic
have with
title.
that, with Okada coming in, which we'll get to too as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I think my thing with that match. So I remember when Brian came in, it's like he really didn't have that much reaction, and the match in itself, how long it was, like 20 minutes, 25.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that 90% of the match, people not into it. Maybe towards the
It
end,
was silent.
right?
It was dead silent, and that's the worst thing you can have as a wrestler.
Yeah,
When
there were a
you're
lot of
working.
matches on this card that were like that.
Here,
You could
this is the
tell
reason
about
why.
75% of the audience was here for one reason.
Yes, and there's a reason why they wanted. They're
They
in
probably had
Greensboro.
no idea who half these guys were.
They were in Greensboro, and they wanted to see Sting. That's the only reason they sold out the Greensboro Coliseum.
Oh, 100%. If
wasn't-
that would have just been like 7,000-8,000 people there, Sting wasn't
Yeah.
retiring that night.
All right, so get Eddie Kingston. I can go on all night, but I'm not going to because you get the point. In the chat.
Yeah.
Then the next match was that AEW International Championship match. I keep calling it Intercontinental because it's so similar. Orange Cassidy Pockets versus Roderick Strong, and Roderick won. I thought Tony would put over his boy, but Roderick won. At least they got a rub there. The Undisputed Kingdom, which is a garbage group, by the way.
I invoked the Orange Cassidy rule and did not watch this match.
Okay, so you can't review it, but
I
didn't watch it either. But yeah,
I can't
It was
watch
a garbage,
Pockets.
garbage.
straight
That
up.
was
I'm sure
that
it was
match.
garbage.
Yeah, that was
And I
that
like
match
Roderick.
where
I'm glad
people
Roderick
went to the
Strong won,
stands.
Our little puppy pockets. Yep.
Yep.
All right, so that match, the Undisputed Kingdom gets a belt, whatever. That group is dead anyway, so I don't know why Tony Khan keeps
Dead
pushing
on
him now.
arrival.
It was dead as soon as debuted. It's like
Dead on
Adam Cole was the
arrival.
devil. Like,
And they had nobody to
okay,
feud with. MJF was
no,
the main guy.
yeah, and he's
And then
gone,
he left, and they had nothing to do.
and he's still
It was
gone.
terrible.
You haven't seen him since December. Apparently he's hurt, but
He's been MIA. Like, he has not tweeted anything. He has not
disappeared.
made any appearances.
He's
That's kayfabe. That's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do when you go
he's
away.
disappeared.
He is doing
And-
exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's professional. He's not tweeting. He's not going on the talk shows. He's disappeared.
Did you see Omega
Props to
Omega went
MJF.
on Omega just went on a stream talking about how something like I'll be back or whatever. I know he had diverticulitis, but he's going on stream. Like, aren't you sick? I mean, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I could care less about Kenny Omega. I mean, I know a lot of
All
people
right.
like him. He's that crowd, the AEW crowd, they love Kenny. I don't get it.
Omega.
It's
Omega
like
is
watching
another.
an older version of Osprey at this point.
That's
Like,
exactly
there's
what
no
I was gonna
selling.
say.
It's move after move after move after move.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
All right, the next match
Just
was
not my
the
style.
Yeah, it sucks. The next match was the AEW World Women's Title, whatever. Toni Storm, who cosplay as Mariah. What am I forgetting her name?
You have it backwards.
Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn
yeah,
Monroe
Marilyn
versus the alleged virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, and I call it.
I thought you were
alleged
saying
because
that because Mariah May actually was cosplaying as Tony Storm. She
As the
was
old
like
Toni
she was
Storm,
wearing the
yeah.
old gimmick, like with the sunglasses.
They're
and
all
whatnot.
cosplaying here versus
Yeah,
the alleged
they're all having fun
virtuosa.
on Tony's dime.
And I call her the alleged virtuoso. You saw how she dropped Madison Rain on her head, right?
Yeah, I don't get
And she's
the
the
hype
alleged
around Purrazzo.
virtuosa. She's not good. She's not good. And I hate to say it, but I have to point this out. She's not in shape.
I wasn't gonna say it either, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, she's not in
agree.
shape. I mean,
She just looks.
Yeah,
And
she's
people-
lacking something. She's definitely
Yeah,
lacking something.
I'm not saying she has to be a skinny little girl, but she's definitely not in shape. Like, she's eaten one too many pizzas.
It's almost like a mini Nia Jax.
Yeah, at
Like
least
with the-
Nia Jax, that's part of her gimmick, and she looks,
Yeah.
but it's not good,
I don't know
There's
what
no-
they're going to do with Purrazzo. This seems to be a trend in AEW with the women. They'll sign somebody big, like what was it, Taya Valkyrie, or they sign these women to just lose on a pay-per-view, and then they don't do anything with them afterwards. So
Oh.
if I would turn Deonna Purrazzo into like a Jersey Shore type character,
Oh, she
and
would
just
hate
have her
that.
be like an annoying like Staten Island bitch.
Yeah,
feel like
she's
they-
from New Jersey, but
Yeah,
she
I
would
feel
hate
like they
that
could
because
at least give her a character. You know what I mean? I think she could
Yeah,
probably play off
she was
that. She already
when-
kind of looks like it.
when she was in WWE, she came up with that virtuosa gimmick, and she was complaining that no one understood my gimmick in WWE. It was like, no one understands the gimmick today. I don't
No,
understand
yeah. What is the gimmick? You're a good
Yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah, basically, like,
Join the club.
she's a virtuosa. It's like
Yeah,
she's virgin.
That's a dead gimmick.
Yeah, she's not going to go far. Yeah, unless she stays in the Indies, which she probably is going to.
She
Because,
should.
Go be the woman, Matt Cardona.
She should, yeah, right.
the king of the Indies.
Or adopt Enzo female version of Enzo. Well, that ain't that the chick that's in Staten Island. What's her name? That goes out with Cody Graves.
Carmella.
Carmella.
I mean, maybe something like that could work on Deonna. Maybe.
It could, but she ain't gonna.
She
do
needs
it.
to have a character. Like
No.
Right.
that's the only reason Toni Storm's getting over is because she has a character that she's like it or not. She's going all in with it. And so
Yeah,
is
she's
AEW.
leaning into it. She's leaning into the cosplaying of Mariah. I keep saying Mariah. Marilyn Monroe. All right, so let's get to the AEW World Title match. We have Magnum TA Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe, the champion. Samoa Joe retained, and there's no reason why Magnum TA here shouldn't have been in the match, but
Someone needed to take the pin.
yeah, he took the fall, obviously, but it should have been Joe and Strickland. And
I
of
think
course,
that's
Joe should have
eventually
won.
where they'll get to.
Yeah, I suspect they'll do it in
Because
the next pay-per-view.
like, did you see they're having Wardlow and Samoa Joe like next week or something?
Yeah,
Like another
and that
blow
pissed.
off match.
Yeah, and that pissed me off because my idea would have been to put the belt on Warlow at London All
They're
In,
not even
but
building this match up. You got Wardlow
no,
and
it's just
Samoa
a
Joe, two big,
imagine that.
realistic looking guys, two guys that actually
Imagine the
look
build
like
to
they
that
can whip
match.
some ass. And it's just a blow off title match on a random Dynamite. I wouldn't say
Oh no,
random, I guess it is. Like, it's big business.
it's big business.
Big
Remember, we're getting the
business.
debut.
Oh
Of,
yeah.
we're getting the debut of the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks.
Bro,
Like
if
we're
they
getting
don't hit
that
a
debut there.
million on the ratings, Twitter is gonna explode. If they can't
We
hit a
have.
million with Sasha Banks debuting, which I don't think they will, I really don't
Oh
think
no,
she's
they
gonna
won't.
make that much of a difference. But it's gonna
Vince
be a fun. It's gonna be a fun day
McMahon's.
on Twitter
Yeah,
Thursday afternoon.
Vince McMahon's evil mustache said Vince took the fall. I'm sure he did. Um. So yeah, Joe won. He should have won.
Yeah, right
I.
decision.
Du- yeah. Surprised Tony Khan didn't blow his load and put the belt on the hangnail or swerve. All right, and the main event, the reason why 90% of audience was there, Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. I hate those guys.
Yeah,
For the AEW World Tag Team title, Sting and Darby Allin won, as they should have, quite frankly.
I
But
didn't know if they were or not. I really didn't. I didn't
yeah,
know if the Young Bucks were going to really lean in on this heel gimmick and just walk away with the belts. I feel like they probably would have like thrown stuff at them from the crowd. I feel like it probably would have been a riot.
no, if they would have won that match, it would have been right. It would have
Yeah,
been.
it would have been
Right.
bad.
I'm sure the Bucks would have won, and
It
they
would
would
have
have
been
loved to have
like
been won the
Bash
match.
at the Beach '96 when Hogan joined the NWO, and there was just
Oh yeah.
trash in the ring from
But
all the
that makes
fans.
sense
It
somewhat.
would have
That
been
makes
like that.
sense.
Well, they probably got the heads up. Remember when RVD fought John Cena in the One Night Stand too?
The ECW.
Yeah,
They were
the
like, yo, if
ECW
John
show.
Cena wins, we'll
Yeah,
ride.
if John
Hammerstein.
Cena would have won that match, bro.
Wow.
So I'm
Now
glad.
they-
I'm glad Sting went over, but just the way they went about it, like it
Oh, that's
wasn't even a
awful.
wrestling match. Like
It's a garbage
immediately,
match.
like his sons just started beating up the Young Bucks before the bell even rang. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is what we're doing. Okay, whatever.
This is ridiculous. Yeah.
We're just gonna have some fun. This isn't
Yeah.
gonna be a wrestling match at all.
No, it's just gonna be silliness. Like, oh yeah, Sting. One of his sons dressed up as Surfer Sting, and the other one did like that.
Crow Sting.
That's Crow Sting, the red with the red paint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah, that one. So, and they beat up the Young Bucks. Blah blah blah. Then you had the famous moment of the match where, for no reason, Darby Allin jumped
He
off
wasn't
the ladder
even
and threw.
close to landing on the
No,
Young Bucks.
No.
Like he just
That-
did that to himself.
for no reason. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he threw himself through a pane of glass for no
Real
reason.
glass, by the way. It wasn't fake glass.
I got into argument on Twitter
Yeah,
about
we
that.
both
Like,
did. I was
yeah, I
like,
know
dude,
you
what
were
are you
there.
talking about? That's real glass.
Yeah, that was not sugar glass. That was real.
tempered glass. It was
Yeah.
glass that was pre-broken and then
Yeah.
he
sealed
had the
back
scar,
together
you
to
could
be
tell.
broken again.
He had all these
Yeah.
like marks on his back. Like, you idiot! Like,
Bro,
why
I
would you even do
legitimately
that?
thought like he was in like a medical emergency type situation. Like when
Yeah,
they showed it the second time and you saw
Uh-huh.
like 1,000 cuts just bleeding all at the same time. I was like,
Yeah,
this dude's got to go to the hospital immediately.
Some of that glass got into the audience and hurt them.
Yeah, they need to call Stephen P. New.
Yeah, some 70-year-old person in the audience got cut.
That's
And I'm like-
that's an easy settlement with Tony. He gives
Yeah.
more money away to Joey
He's
Janela
And their fans are defending it like, oh well, they put a sign up before the show.
yeah,
you sit
that
in the front
sign
row.
doesn't mean shit.
Doesn't
in
mean
court.
anything. Yeah, it's no.
That's
It's
to
like-
fool stupid people into thinking, well, I guess I can't sue. Yes, you can. And by all means, go for it. You'll probably get some money out of it.
Yeah,
It was an angel. I think you saw a clip of the ref holding the rope.
yeah.
The ladder. Yeah, that's not the first time they've done that. I've called
It's
that
stupid.
out many times in AEW where the ref is clearly helping one of the wrestlers climb a ladder.
I
for a
complained
stunt.
about that.
Yeah, like
Again,
back in
I
like a
complained about
pay-per-view, they
that.
did it when
Yeah.
they were holding the ladder for Hobbs because it broke.
Mm.
And I was like,
Because
this
I'm
is
looking-
a joke.
I saw the clip. I'm looking. I'm like, why is the referee helping holding the ladder up? Like, referees are supposed to be impartial. And then some fans argue with me, well, it happens all the time in wrestling. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
And no, it doesn't. That shit started like a couple years ago. Like, you didn't see that in the ladder match with Shawn Michaels and Razor
No.
Ramon. You didn't see no ref holding no ladder. Those guys beat the shit out of each other with that ladder. So
And
no,
I
that
think
is not. And to use that as an excuse, like, okay, we're just going to normalize the refs being part of the act. Like, it takes you out of it. Like, you're
right.
trying to immerse yourself into a story. Like, if you're watching a movie and all of a sudden the director just comes out in the middle of the shot and starts holding one of the props, like, you're not
Yeah,
in.
it's not
You're out of the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
65-year-old Sting
crazy.
jumping around. Yeah, didn't Sting jump off a ladder at some point in this match? Remember?
Yeah, he went through some tables and
Yeah.
he went through a
Stupid.
pane of glass.
It's so stupid. I mean, why is he putting himself through that? And what's
I
worse,
feel like he genuinely enjoys doing it, but you got to protect the wrestlers from themselves at some point.
yeah.
You know, you
And
can't
Tony
just
has
let
no
them, because
ability
they
to
will
do
go
that.
out there and freaking kill themselves if you let them. And it's their
So-
job to not let them do that, and they don't. Tony just lets them do whatever they want,
It's stupid.
and someone's
then
gonna
what's
die
worse-
on that show.
And
Someone's
then
gonna get paralyzed or
Yep.
die on that show eventually. Like,
It almost
I
happened
hate to
a few
say it,
times.
but
Mhm.
they're pushing it, man, with the stuff they do.
Then what's worse is I didn't know this until recently, but Sting never did a job in the 3 years he was in AEW.
No, I mean, he didn't give nobody a rub.
No,
the,
then
the
what was
whole
the
point
point?
of like bringing
Yeah,
in a guy like
a
that,
veteran
is to
or
get the young guys
or a
over.
legend to put over one or two people. Not somebody had to put a whole roster,
Dude,
but
Tony, did you hear Tony at the press conference? Dude, he's a fucking mark. Like,
yes,
this is the best night of his life, he said.
yeah, yeah. And I saw Jim Cornette's analysis and Brian Last, and I heard what he had to say.
Spot
I'm
on
like,
as usual.
yeah, I'm like, oh come on.
He said some of the most outrageous things during that press. Best pay-per-view ever, just crazy statements that are just like so ridiculous.
Yeah,
that we
Tony
can't even
called
believe
it-
he said them.
Tony called it the greatest match of all
Exactly,
time.
bro. Like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't even a wrestling match.
No, it's just a garbage match where everybody gets to have fun.
It was just a fuck off match. Yeah, it was just a garbage match.
I want to go back to the referee thing. I think Angel mentioned before. So there was the match where Hangman, where he stomped on the ref.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
And then there was another spot in the Sting with the Jacks where they wanted to hit the ref, and I'm like, that's a little bit too much interaction there.
They're just part of the act, man. They're not.
Right.
That's horrible.
They're not
because how
They're
a ref one's
part of
supposed to work is you bump into the referee, he goes down. You don't just
Right.
fucking brutalize the ref for no reason.
Yeah.
I guess the reason they did that was to put it into the storyline so they could suspend him, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
because
what they did on Dynamite. I guess I don't want to give them too much credit and say that was the whole reason that happened, but
the EVPs suspended the hangnail. Yeah, that guy
for attacking the
I'm about to say
referees.
Magnum TA. I mean, he was a ripoff.
Did you see the ratings when they came on? Like 200,000 people left.
I can't believe they're still on they're trying to put themselves over on television.
What is Tony seeing those guys? Like, I gotta pay these guys millions of dollars to make my ratings go down. Like, I don't get it.
He re-signed them like last year.
Yeah.
Him and Omega and all these guys.
I don't know why he thinks he needs them. They just chase people away.
No, I don't get it either. But that was AEW Revolution.
That was the lowest rated Dynamite of the year, and they were the main focus of it.
Yep, 770,000.
What a coincidence! And poor Okada, you debut him and put him with those.
Yeah, we got to get to that because
and then your $14 million is already not looking.
Because I wanted to get to that.
That's 14 million.
I mean, I talked about this on Twitter. So
sorry,
I talked about this. No, that's fine, but we can get to it. So again, this is the alleged number. So Tokyo Sports, Okada signed a 3-year contract, about 2 billion yen. That equals a $13.5 million contract, resulting in $4.5 million per year. So he makes more than almost all the WWE roster, except for Roman Reigns, probably. And what did he do? What Tony does with him, his genius idea, let's debut him. Let's turn him heel and make him a lackey for the Young Bucks.
14 million.
I can't believe what? I watched that live. I'm like, okay.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was going to be involved with the Ospreay stuff.
Yeah, I thought so too. Apparently,
So
he's
I was
feuding with
wrong
Eddie
on that,
Kingston
but then they
now.
did
Yeah,
something even worse.
that's even worse. So
They
like
did something even
he
worse.
he comes to the ring. He's like, okay, looks like a star. He's dressed
Yeah, got a
well. He
suit on,
looks good.
probably.
Yeah, looks like a star. And then he comes in. And is okay. Gonna fight the Bucks. Good. Nope. He attacks Kingston and joins the Elite because they fired Omega too. Because that's another thing they did earlier in the night or in that segment. I mean, and then they're like, oh, now all of a sudden he's a lackey for the Young Bucks. Like, how you gonna get your money back, Tony? You
That's
just
just that
you
was
just
just
gave him all this money for nothing because you
and,
just ruined him
and
right there.
I hate to be that, but he can't speak English.
No, he can't.
How are you going to connect with American audiences without being able to speak English? Like, I get that he's a great worker, but like a lot of people are. You're not paying them 14 million.
Nope.
Is
He's
he up
paying
there? So, is he up there in terms of getting paid in AEW like per year?
Okada. He's probably the highest paid guy there, probably right now.
Yeah, him and Jericho.
Yeah,
Right,
More money
God,
well
yeah.
spent.
Yeah.
right.
Bro,
At
Tony's such a
first,
mark, man, and these
at
wrestlers are just preying on this dude.
yeah,
They
at
are preying
first.
on this dude.
To be fair, at first Jericho was a good investment. I mean, he was
Yeah, they
a
needed
name.
somebody.
They needed a name, so they brought him in. He's the first AEW World Champion. He had a decent run as champion. And but after the second or third year, I'm like, what the fuck? He's
Yeah, they have
gained
no use
weight, and
for him.
yeah, they have
And
no
now
use
he's
for
like,
him.
now he's trying to get involved with Hook. Do you see that crap?
Yeah,
Like, bro, he's like a succubus. Like, he just leeches
whenever
on to anybody who has a
whenever he
little bit of
sees,
going
yeah,
for him and
yeah,
just sucks their soul.
I wouldn't be
Ricky
surprised if
Starks. How did that help Ricky Starks after beating Jericho twice?
it
Ricky
didn't.
Starks isn't even on TV anymore.
No, and allegedly his contract is coming up or it's almost up. I'm sure he's fucking off to WWE the first chance he
Thank
gets.
God.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah, I'm
like
pretty
he's
sure.
gonna be way better off in WWE.
Just like Brian Pillman Jr. is way better off in WWE.
Yeah,
Look
he's
at him.
already way
He's
better
the
off.
most over guy in NXT, probably, arguably. Him
Get
and
that
Trick
performance
Williams.
center.
Yeah, I see that Trick Williams is mega over when I do watch that show. I don't really
Mm,
watch it very often, but I try to
yeah.
keep up with like I
Yeah, I watch it. Not every week. I just keep up with clips and stuff. And holy shit, is Trick Williams over.
yeah. They got a lot of upcoming talent, man.
Yeah.
They are just
They
churning.
got,
Like Tiffany
I
Stratton's already mega
yeah,
over on the main roster.
Tiffany
Like they're
Stratton,
just churning talent.
Carmelo Hayes, Trick
That Oba Femi
Williams,
guy, he
Oba
looks like a
Femi,
beast, man. Like
um, what's his face? Ryan Pillman Jr.,
Ilya,
Ilya Dragunov. Yeah, I mean they don't need to sign any major stars like Tony does.
they can just make their own, man.
Yeah, they have a factory down there in that performance center,
It's
which is
impressive.
what which is why Tony needs a goddamn performance center. He had look. This is what
He should
frustrates me. He
use
had
Ring of Honor as a, you know what I
yes,
mean?
he,
Like
he had
Ring of Honor should be
he
their NXT.
yeah he had goddamn William Regal, the one he's the one that led the performance center for years
Yeah, he got the
until he went
fuck
to
out of there.
AEW.
He got the fuck out of there as
Yeah,
soon as he could, man.
I'm like, you have William Regal. Just make him into your head trainer. Send a lot of these indie marks over there, and if they don't want to listen, fire them. I don't do, but
Yeah, they're
do
not
something.
worth. They're not if they're not going to listen, get rid of them. Who do they think they are?
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah,
not
they want
willing to
to.
listen to William Regal, then just
Yeah,
piss off.
and William Regal, like I think,
But
who
that's
was it?
why he wanted out, man. He saw that he
Yeah,
was just a TV
Vince.
character.
Vince fired him. He needed a job. I'm like, okay, let me go here for a year.
Yeah, make
Did
some
the
easy money.
Blackpool Combat Club, which is still around, even though he's not there anymore. It makes no sense.
Call it the Combat Club now.
Okay, they don't call it Blackpool. Regal could see the writing on the wall, 100%. That's why he fucked off.
100%.
And the way he did it, a lot of people are like, oh well, I don't like the way he did it. I'm like, when Tony Khan's mother was sick, William Regal called him up and like, I want to be in NXT with my son. Can you please release me from my contract? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll release you because I respect you so much,
He
William. Like,
was
yo,
feeling
no,
that
yeah,
sentimental family
yeah, no,
vibe.
no,
You
no.
know what I mean?
Hey
Yeah,
Tony,
I remember
to
that.
Tony, you're a mark. I mean,
Yeah.
William Regal was playing you. He's an
Got
old
played,
worker.
man. Like I
He's an old
said,
worker in wrestling.
they just prey on this guy, man.
Yeah. I want to be with my son in NXT. Your mother's
And
dying. You understand what it's like to be with family,
and
right?
Tony
Like,
doesn't look at those guys as employees. He's like a kid still being a fan.
Yeah,
that,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
his
He
thing.
doesn't look. He doesn't even realize like, hey, I'm their boss. I could tell
yeah.
these guys whatever. No, he's out there giving them hugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like marking
It-
out with the fans. Like he
mhm.
does. Like, dude, you're in charge. You don't have to just let
Yeah.
these guys do whatever they want because, like, oh, you liked their match in '97 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's my thing with Tony. I mean, he comes off like, I mean, this is, well, I'm not a parent, but it comes to debate, like, we say, okay, a parent should a parent be a best friend to their kids. Some might argue, like, no, you should be just a parent. So Tony kind of comes off like, I'm your boss,
that's a good
but
comparison.
you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm your
totally.
friend, I'm your best friend, I'm your brother, I'm your whatever. And you got to
When,
separate that, Tony.
when I was
Yeah.
when I was teaching, that was one of those things you really had to kind of walk a fine line with. You know,
Right.
you wanted to be like you wanted the kids to respect you, but you also didn't want them to walk all over you because they thought they were your friend or whatever. So yeah, there is that
Mm.
fine line. Like when you're an authority figure, you can't put yourself on their level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You always got to maintain that level of superiority. But when he's out like drinking and partying with the wrestlers and
Right.
shit, like they're just making fun of him. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, how much more
Yeah.
can we take this guy for?"
And that's my
Look,
thing. He's paying millions to these people, to these. And I'm saying
he
to myself,
has
He's giving these guys money that they would have never ever seen in
right.
their entire
nope.
lives.
No, 90% of the AEW roster is not ready for television. At
Nah.
least
Yeah, you're right about that.
90% is not ready for television. Or they're too old and shouldn't be on television
Well,
anymore.
that's why
Like
they ain't AEW.
Ric Flair. I mean,
Yeah.
let's do it. Like, what the hell is he doing? And then on top, he's paying him a salary, and on top of that, he's paying him to
And
feature his
And the
stupid energy
fans don't
drink.
even really like him anymore, especially the AEW crowd that are really like cancel culture people.
And I was
Like
like,
they're not even
yeah,
fans of Ric Flair anymore.
it's
Like
Ric Flair, yay! One of those things, and it's not even really a pop for him
no,
because
the
Tony's a mark
Steamboat
for
got a
old.
bigger pop than Ric Flair
Yeah,
did.
yeah, and because he hasn't been around in years, and he knows when to
Exactly.
stay away. And when he comes
Exactly.
out, it's like, oh wow, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's
Ric
back.
Flair
For
doesn't know
one.
how to stay away.
Nope,
No.
he's gonna be there. What are you gonna do now? Hey Tony, Sting is gone. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do with Flair?
Sign Goldberg,
Mm.
maybe. Goldberg's
I don't know.
coming.
Goldberg's he's still fishing for a retirement match. I'm sure
Goldberg's
Tony Khan
coming.
would. Tony Khan would love to pay him a few million for one match, like
I
the
wonder how
mark
much
that he
he's
is.
paying Sasha Banks to stay away from WWE.
Mm.
You
And I
think it's
predict that
Okada money?
it has to be. I don't think Sasha Banks would come in for anything
That's
less.
for a woman wrestler.
Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
she
Because
probably makes more
they
than
don't draw traditionally.
no,
So like you're
no.
paying a lot of money for someone that you don't even really know is going to draw, and the creative around the women's division is so bad that
Especially in AEW.
I just can't see Mercedes making an impact on the ratings on the product in general. I just feel like she's gonna probably have a title match with Tony Storm, probably win, and then maybe get a segment on Rampage every week. Like I really don't see it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
She's already admitting that in a podcast. I saw this clip on
I did
Twitter.
see that. Yeah.
Like as soon as she's going back to WWE one day. I mean, she's already
Yeah.
said I'm going back.
Which I mean
'Cause
should be common sense to any
Right.
wrestling
yeah.
fan, but like, yeah, the AEW fans they're so tribalistic. They're like, you're ours now. Like you're supposed to hate them. Like no, they have friends over there. Like they don't.
Yeah, she's
Like it's
still.
not like how it
It's
is on Twitter.
Bailey,
Like they all get along. You know what I mean? They're not-
Bailey,
yeah,
Becky
bro.
Lynch, Charlotte, and her, the four horsewomen. They've
Yeah,
been
like
friends
Sasha
for.
ain't about to come over here and like wave this AEW flag. Like,
Mm.
she's just gonna go over there, make her money.
She sees
Triple
a
H probably
mark.
told her to go over there. Go over there, take that guy for
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
he's gonna give you. Come
Yeah,
on back.
we're not going to
We'll do
use you
something.
really right now.
Yeah,
And that's
just
my
like what they
thing
did
with
with
Mercedes.
just like what
Yeah.
Vince did with Bret Hart. You know what I mean? Told Bret
Yeah.
Hart, hey, I can't pay you this much, but this idiot will. Go take his money, and we'll bring you back in a few years.
Yeah, and then the Montreal screw job happened. Never came back, but they didn't know that.
Yeah,
At
it
the
took a
time,
little
so-
longer than expected.
Yeah,
But he
but
eventually, I was like 2012 or something, came
yeah,
back.
he
But yeah,
eventually make his way back.
I
I can't.
I don't think Sasha's gonna make an impact.
She
No.
isn't. It's Tony being a mark.
And she knows it.
He's just trying to take people away from WWE.
Right.
He
And
thinks
she
if he
knows
can
it.
just take every wrestler, he'll beat him. And it's like, nah, bro, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
They're churning out stars every week. You can't keep up with them by signing every big free agent. It's not gonna make a difference.
It's a desperation play.
Yeah.
And
It's a
with
He signed
Mercedes,
desperation
Osprey.
play.
He signed Okada. He
Mm-hmm.
signed Mercedes. Let's see what
right? And then
happens. Let's see what
And
happens.
this tweet kind of got me heat with their fans. So I want to show this real quick. Look at all the main eventers according to this person. Adam Cole, Adam Copeland, Brian Danielson, Christian Cage, The Hangnail, Jay White, John Moxley, Okada, Omega, MJF, Samoa Joe, Swerve, Will Ospreay. That's an unrealistically stacked main event scene.
That's the
Most of
problem.
these get
nah,
most of these guys are not main
There's too many
eventers,
people.
no,
and there's too many. Even if they all were,
You can't
which aren't.
feature all those guys.
definitely not Adam Cole. I'm sorry.
He was.
I mean,
He was not anymore.
I mean,
He main evented their biggest show ever,
yeah,
which is crazy,
yeah,
but
true.
that's what happened.
he was.
I don't
MJF.
I don't get Adam Cole at all.
So yeah, this where's my response to this?
MJF. Do you guys think that he'll go to WWE?
I don't know about his contract situation.
I don't know what
is
else
it?
left he has to accomplish in AEW.
I mean,
I don't know
I
what
don't know.
more you could do in AEW if you're MJF.
right.
I feel like he has to go to WWE.
Well, he's what 26. He
Yeah,
could
he's
be
still
like,
young. Oh, big time.
he could be like, fuck it, I'm gonna take this guy's money for 3 or 4 more years and then run to WWE.
MJF realistically should be the highest paid person in that company.
Oh yeah, I mean,
He's the one that draws more than anybody. He's the one that people
Absolutely.
want to see on TV every week.
Well,
To
the
me,
YouTube
he's the
clips is
wrestler
him.
in that company that has the most value.
Yeah. Even the
Yeah.
YouTube clips is him. If you look at YouTube, that's what did MJF said this week?
His segments are must-see TV.
Right.
And with him gone, like the show it's hard to watch the show every week when you know you're not going to get an MJF segment.
yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous just how badly Tony Khan mangled his title run. Because remember, he was the top heel world champion.
The dreaded babyface run of MJF.
A year, nearly a year, over a year title run. He started off great. It's like, oh wow, I mean, this is good. I'm actually watching AEW to see MJF.
Mm-hmm.
Then halfway through the reign, he's doing stupid ass skits with Adam Cole, and then turning babyface. I'm like,
it
what?
all fell apart.
Even if fucking it was MJF's idea. If I'm Tony, I'm like,
no, you're not doing that. That's what I'm saying.
You're not turning
Tony
babyface.
doesn't have the balls to tell these guys no.
Right.
I'm sure it was MJF's idea. Like, oh, I could do great.
Actually, it was Chris Jericho's idea. They said it at the press conference that MJF.
Well, I'm not surprised because if that's true, that means Jericho sabotaged MJF.
But yeah, that's when Jericho was a heel. Yeah. So obviously he'd want MJF to turn babyface. So
yeah, he did something weird. So, yep.
Jericho being the politician that he is, he sabotages MJF's title run, and that was the case.
He sabotages everybody.
And I'm like,
where's Action Andretti? I thought he was going to create a new star.
He signs all these like indie darlings. Like we talked about it last week. Action Andretti, like he had like one good match.
Jericho put him over.
He had one good match in the indies. And then Tony gave him all this money. He worked one match with Jericho. Jericho lost him, which is shocking. But he lost him in a really shitty way, which is classic Jericho.
Oh yeah.
He lost. It was a shitty finish where he got. Oh, but I put him over. See, I put the kid over, even though it was a horrible and it sucked. But
that was almost like someone in the locker room was like, "Man, you never put anybody over." And he's like, "Well, since I'm pretty much in charge of this show, I'll tell Tony I'm going to put this guy over." And that was that.
I'm gonna do it in a very.
And Tony's like,
way.
"Oh yeah, great idea."
I'm gonna do it in a very shitty way, so
and
I don't look
to
bad.
A guy who's like, he's like 5'8", 150. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't let a big guy beat Jericho. Like somebody like, oh wow, he might actually be something. No, you look at Andretti and you're like, okay,
he can't beat any
cap. He can only get so far in this business, you know. So and Jericho gave the rub to some guy he knew was never going to get over to begin with.
Yeah, then he disappeared, and then I saw an advertisement for him to appear on Rampage. I think it was on Friday. I was like, oh wow, Action Andretti, he's back. It was like a meaningless match with some jabroni.
He's just another interchangeable flippy flop guy.
And Moron Jericho's working with these Mexican guys. He did I forget one of their names last week, and now
Yeah,
this
he's
week he's
doing the
working with
Google
some other
Open
guy.
challenge. He's doing the
Oh
Google
yeah,
Open
was it
challenge.
Titan was the guy that he's
Yeah,
supposed to
some
be?
Mexican guy worked with, and he's doing it
Wow,
again this week from CMLL. Like, well, I'm working
wow,
with guys from the putting over the Mexicans, except that they don't speak English and they all have masks and they do the same thing.
More
wow.
interchangeable guys.
Yeah, I'm frustrated because I wanted AEW to succeed. It's like especially back
Me
when it
too.
first
We all
started.
do.
I'm
It
like,
makes wrestling better as a
in
whole.
2019 WWE was garbage, like beyond garbage, with all the shit Vince was doing then. I'm like, oh my god, AEW sports presentation. And Cody was there and Jericho first came in and they were promising all this good
Yeah, it
wrestling. I'm
was a
like,
promising
oh,
thing.
okay.
Oh
I
yeah.
look I looked at Tony Khan. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, he looked like it's a skinny
He
little
looks like
guy that
Rick Moranis, like the guy from
yeah
Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
yeah. It's like ah shit. This is hopefully
And
this
I,
goes well.
and I think
But
he got hyped when Riley came back. Riley, yeah, what's his name? The young kid that looked like he really was on something else. I think he was in that match. What's his name? The kid from AEW on Riley. I think his last name is Riley.
oh, Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, that he looked at. He got
Oh
the
yeah.
bags, and I'm
Tony,
like,
I
yo,
forgot to mention that he came
yeah,
back
Tony
in that
Khan.
Roderick
Tony Khan
Strong
was
match.
probably like, yo, that's my brother.
That's how Angel. That's how forgettable it was that none of us remembered it.
Yeah,
No,
he
none of us
struggled. He
remembered
did
it.
remember it, but Dave struggled.
The only
He is
thing I
like,
remember is how he looked like a homeless guy.
yeah, he
Right,
looked
right.
like
That's
he
what I
like he
remember.
Yeah, he
just
looked like a white Tony Khan.
yeah, he walked in
Bro, he
or
had
he
like
came into
fast
the
food
ring.
stains on his shirt and
Yeah,
shit.
I'm like,
Yeah, he came into the ring, and they're gonna do the whole friend angle again. How many times they done this? Where,
right.
well, you're my friend. Oh no, you're not my friend. Oh, you should be my friend. We've been friends for years. That whole angle they always
It's the
do.
only
Yeah.
story they know how to tell in AEW.
Yeah.
Like I just want
And
to
it's
say
not
this
even
about
that
Chris Jericho, man. I'll be honest, I was a mark for Chris in WCW when he joined WWE.
Yeah,
But there's something,
Y2J.
yeah,
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 while he
yeah,
was in shape.
yeah, right. And
Steph,
then
Steph
something,
always hated him.
I mean, something with
Steph's
him
always
in
hated
terms of this
Jericho.
But
politics,
yeah,
you know.
man, like you were saying, Angel, like we were all excited about AEW because we
Yeah.
knew like we, especially guys like us who grew up during the Monday Night Wars. You know, it kind of brought back that feeling a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
I was hope.
competition. We remember how much it made WWE or
Yep,
WWF and
yep.
WCW so much better when they
Yeah.
were competing with each
And
other. And we saw hope for the wrestling business that we haven't seen in like 20 years.
Big time.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, I don't know about y'all, but it was the AEW fans on Twitter. They started being really like rude.
I watched.
Like anytime you question something or say like, "Oh, this wasn't that good," bro, you would get attacked with some of like really hurtful shit. And it's just like then you start like not really rooting against AEW, but like rooting against these people.
Yeah,
and you're like,
pricks.
if AEW does something stupid, it makes them look stupid. So I'm gonna have fun with that now.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how my Twitter persona kind of grew. Like I came on there, it's like, yeah, AEW, like I'm ready to carry that torch. And then slowly but surely, I'm like, bro, fuck these weirdos. Like I don't want to be a part of this group of people.
I was
so
too.
I slowly
was like...
started to kind of like distance myself. It's just like, all right, I'm a wrestling fan. Like WWE's putting on some good shit. Like I don't really care anymore. I just want wrestling to be good.
Yeah,
so like when I criticize AEW, I'm a WWE shill. When I criticize WWE, I'm an AEW shill. So it's like you can't really win on Twitter.
The tribalism
on
both.
You just kind of
tribalism, on both sides is bad.
AEW is worse. Like you just point out all the dumb shit AEW does, and you have fun with it.
AEW is worse, but WWE fans are kind of tribalistic too, but not as much.
I've had arguments with them, but they've never like taken it to like a weird personal level that the AEW fans do.
Most of WWE fans are casuals. Like they're very few that are like that online
for the most part. You know what I mean?
They're not that online.
The profile of an AEW fan is just like a weird, lonely
it's a little
guy.
unhinged. Yeah,
it's just like a weird
emo
person. I don't know
Right.
how to
emo
explain
and
it,
virgins,
but
and
it's
Right.
it's just like
Yeah.
weird
they
incel
jerk off to
energy.
Japanese wrestling. They
And you can
cream
Yo,
see it. They're
themselves
all
over
the same.
Japanese
They're
wrestling.
all
Yeah.
like that. None of them
yeah, they
show
like
their.
just
None of
moping,
them
like,
are
yeah,
willing to show
you
their
know.
face on Twitter. They all have like
Yeah,
an anime picture in their profile or
they
something, or
cream
like
themselves over Japanese
a
wrestling, and they
female
can't wait.
wrestler that they jerk off to or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah,
And
they're all the
imagine,
same.
and
And
imagine
they
if they ever
chased me
seen
away.
like
They made me
ECW
want.
fans, man.
They didn't make me want AEW to fail, but they definitely made me like laugh at their failures. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like when they fuck up, it's funny to me
Yeah,
because I can point
it's
to them and
bad.
be like, "Aha, defend that garbage." But yeah,
Every,
like I criticize WWE. They just don't give me as much ammunition as AEW does. Like it's so easy to watch one episode of Dynamite and find like 6 things that are like you can laugh at that. You know what I mean? Like
not
WWE
lately.
does a better
you get the
job. It's a
feelers.
more like
I
polished
get
product. Like
I
they
get
don't
the
have a lot of the
complaints.
mistakes that the
Yeah, I get the
AEW.
complaints about how the bloodline segments are too long. Like there's not enough
They're the
wrestling
best
on
segments on the
SmackDown.
show. I can go the
It,
whole like they
yeah,
can
it's
go the
like
whole 2 hours for all I
It's
The
at
care.
least
Rock.
a storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
bro.
The
it
Give
was
me
Rock
two
something,
went
hours of the Rock and Roman. And, you know
last
what I mean?
week. The Rock went like 40 minutes. Because they had to cut the girls match. They were mad
Yeah,
about
like
that
who
or
gives a
something.
shit? Like
Yeah,
we're watching this because of
yeah,
the Rock. We're not watching this because of Candice
right?
LeRae.
yeah.
No,
They cut the
no
girls
disrespect to
match,
Candice
or
LeRae, but yeah, we're
or
watching
they.
to see the Rock.
Oh no, they cut Naomi's entrance. That was what pissed people off. Some of these
Mm.
online people.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh
she
well,
just came back to the company and they're cutting her
that's what.
entrance and then she got beat by Tiffany Stratton like 3 minutes. I'm like, wait, but you want WWE to put over younger talent, right? And now it's like, oh no,
Right, right.
not with Naomi. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and we have bad faith criticism, but they come at WWE with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like to me,
that's
that's bad
stupid.
faith. That's bad faith
Yeah.
criticism because you're not arguing to a point. You're just saying this, and then it's
Yeah, you
no, it's
just
that.
Oh
nitpick.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for reminding me, Steph. They cut Sting's speech in the pay-per-view. I forgot about that. Shit
I
is so
did.
forgettable.
They
Yeah, I did
did.
a reply to Greg that night, and I told him, "Yo, that's bad booking. Like, this is the
Yeah.
last match. You're gonna tell me
They
you
don't
can't
have.
give this
Yeah,
dude 10 minutes in your pay per view that you pay?
Well, they had to finish a match
What?
10 minutes earlier and they didn't.
they
They
don't know
Right,
went
how to
they went
use it. They don't know
overtime.
what time management is. They don't know to cut someone's entrance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody in AEW is willing to tell like, hey, you're not getting an entrance. Like we
Dude,
need to
just
make sure that
Only
Sting.
Darby Allen though. Only Darby Allen. 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes. Whispering
Yeah,
to a Sting.
yeah, that's embarrassing that they didn't leave enough time for Sting's speech.
they had to post it on the YouTube channels, like,
Right,
oh, here's his full speech and everything that happened afterwards.
Yeah, like I
But
got to go to YouTube now to listen.
right.
Like I
after
paid
I
$50
paid you
for this pay per
$50,
view,
that's
and
Steph
now I got to
said.
go to
50
YouTube to watch the one thing I
Steph
want to
said, yeah, you
watch.
gotta
for
pay
50
$50 for that.
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
Mhm.
Like fuck YouTube. Like I paid money to see Sting.
Right.
Yeah.
I would
And
ask for a refund.
And then you see Darby Allen in his ear. Hey, you got you shoot like, come on, Darby, come
that's
on.
horrible.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what the
I'd ask for a
referee's job
refund. I
for.
would, man.
Right.
That's what the
If I bought
referee's
that pay
job
per
for
view.
is to go around and whisper to the wrestlers, hey, you got 3 minutes. Hey, go
Right.
home. You got 3 minutes left. That's not
Mm-mm.
Darby Allen like, we got 3 minutes left. You can hear it on the tape.
Wow, what a
It's
Cena
joke.
was
just poor.
famous for that,
It's
by the
just
way.
poor
John
management,
Cena's
which is
famous
par
for
for the
calling out
course at
spots like
AEW.
that.
I think
Couldn't
I
even
think
get that right.
Cena did it. He was a troll. I think Cena is like the ultimate troll. I think at this point.
Yeah, he's like, oh, do clothesline and this and that. He's like calling it out like blatantly. I'm like,
You're gonna
okay,
hit me with an elbow, okay?
yeah. But I think Cena was partly trolling because he knew the cameras would pick it up. People would
Right.
complain about it. So
And then
Yeah,
he'll do the
he
smirk on
leans
the side. He'll
into
look
the
at
criticism.
yeah.
right, and he'll look
Mhm.
at the camera on the side like smirking, like, you see, I told you.
Mhm.
Wow.
So did any
Yeah.
of y'all catch Dynamite this Wednesday?
I watched some of it.
Did you see the Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher match got 5 stars?
Yes. Meltzer gave it 5 stars again.
Wow.
Again.
Wow.
And I spent the entire time ripping that match apart, watching, and I'm like, he no sold. Why did he
And
not do
Kyle
this?
Fletcher, like, you're trying to make Ospreay a big deal. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have like an ultra competitive match with a guy that's on TV once a month.
Mm.
Like, I mean,
Sunday night.
I'm
Heat.
just saying, like, he should have beat that guy a little bit more soundedly, in my opinion.
He
But
should
that's
have.
just a minor
Because
criticism.
Osprey is supposed to be the star. You just brought him in and paid him all this money, and for what? For him to struggle to beat Kyle Fletcher? I didn't even know who he was until
Exactly.
that
Like,
match.
it's not how you you know, it's not how you put the rocket on somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's.
you're
I'm
not
not
really.
saying it should have been 3 minutes, but 10 minutes, good match, beat
You should
him,
have beat the
move
crap
on.
out of him. But
Yeah,
I
you
guess they
give it
are
8 to 10
friends. So
minutes.
I don't know. Yeah,
They're supposed to. Are they all in the Don Callis family? That's stupid.
Yeah, they're wrestling each other for some reason. I don't know why.
Which they still haven't explained really. That, but at least have done a good
No,
job
they
of
really
it.
they haven't explained it other than the fact that it's going to be a good match.
Yeah.
It's like Don Callis
That's
is
the
like,
story. It'll
it's
be a
going
good
to be a
match.
good match, guys. So let's put them
Right,
together,
right.
right? But that
It,
creates tension. If you
it
get
reminds
beat,
me of
then
the
you
days
get
of Tony Schiavone. Remember in WCW? Don't leave. This is gonna be the greatest match you ever gonna see. Don't go to
Shivani's
these
so
other guys.
he's so overrated as a
WCW is good
broadcaster.
at keeping my attention. I'm not gonna like. It was hard to switch off Nitro sometimes. I
In certain parts, yeah, but
I was WCW up until Mike Tyson came along, and the Mike Tyson and Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels.
and
Like, that's when I
WWF
officially kind of switched to WWE.
and Vince, and they all knew they had to get to Tyson. They had to
Yeah.
get to Tyson and
Yeah,
Austin.
bro. Mike Tyson.
Once they got
1997,
Tyson, yeah,
That's the biggest star.
which
on the
is why
planet.
which is why Vince was desperate to get the WWF title off of Brett because he had to get to Tyson in January.
So let me say this. So we going back how we rooted for AEW to succeed. It was the same thing for me, like for WCW, like before when they got the outsiders or whatever. Like I was one of those. Like I love wrestling, but I think we all agree that you need competition. And I was
Yeah.
one of those dudes tuning in when the outsiders came in. I was tuning in to like Nitro.
Well, they
Yeah,
made it
Nitro
seem
is-
they
Right.
Nitro was just
implied
hitting,
Oh,
late 90,
WCW,
like mid
yeah.
to mid 96 to like
Woo.
mid 97, bro. Nitro is just
right.
well
must see TV.
When-
And they did such
when-
a good job of like keeping your
when-
attention and making you want to
yeah.
come back next week.
when WCW when Nitro died and everything died, it was when Hogan screwed up the finish of Starrcade '97 because
Yeah.
we were all waiting for Hogan to lose the belt to Sting. That was the whole point of the story they told for nearly 2 years, and
Yep.
Sting didn't wrestle, didn't do anything, just hang out in the rafter for
Right.
2 years.
Well,
They
they
did
got
the-
paid a lot of money to hang out in the rafters.
Right.
Yeah, he did. They did a great job with that, to be fair. And
They
then
did.
Starrcade '97,
Oh,
Hogan's like,
That's how you make someone special, man.
yeah. Hogan was
Okay.
like, "I'm not tonight, brother."
You don't
And Eric
wrestle
Right.
Bischoff
Kyle
like, what?
Fletcher on a random episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, and Eric
Wow,
Bischoff's
yeah.
like, "What? What do you mean not tonight, Hulk? We worked with for 2 years. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, brother."
Mm.
And then they had to change the whole
And they
finish.
buried Bret Hart in the process. Somehow.
Yeah, I hated
Yeah,
that.
that
That's
was
why
another one.
Mhm.
That was
Everybody
another
knows I'm a Bret Hart. I'm a Bret Hart fan.
100%
And they-
Hogan told Nick Patrick, don't do a fast count. Sure enough.
one. No, I mean, yeah. And
They
then talking
said
about
that Nick Patrick how does Nick Patrick not know what to do in that situation? Like, get
Well,
out of here, man.
According to Nick Patrick, he said, "Well, Sting told me to do a normal count. Hogan told me to do Sting told me to do a fast count. Hogan told me to do a normal count. I couldn't find Bischoff, so I didn't know what to
that's
do."
what it was.
right.
So basically, he did the slow count or the fast count or slow count because he knew Hogan was above Sting in the pecking in the totem hole, so he didn't want to piss off Hogan. So it was like a normal
right.
count.
And then
Even
Bret
though it's supposed to be a
Hart's got to
fast
come
count.
out there and sell that shit like it was a fast count. We all
So
that
Hogan
it
buried
wasn't.
Sting. He buried Sting. He buried Bret Hart. He buried the company.
he buried
For
Nick
what?
Patrick.
He buried Nick
Hogan
Patrick.
is such a piece of shit.
Yeah,
doing that.
he's a douche, bro.
That was so dirty, man.
And then
Like,
you know, in going back to
just,
that,
I'm like
match,
just reliving that again. Like, God,
Yeah.
I can't believe that's how.
and
And
going back to
what-
that match, man, it's like you had the ref do the 3 count, whatever. You remember the Mike Tyson Stone Cold? Didn't Mike Tyson do like the 1, 2, 3 real quick, and nobody talked
Yeah.
about that at all?
That was
because
kind of a
was-
fast count.
It
Huh?
was kind of a fast count, yeah.
Yeah, it was
What
like
Tyson
1,
did.
2, 3, but nobody talked about. But it tells you the product, how different they are, and how they just say, you know what, let's focus on this. It was a good match compared to the Sting. You know, we were
Yeah,
talking
they
about-
overbooked it.
Right.
They
Yeah, it was
overbooked the
overbooked
shit
to
out of that
death.
match.
They
It
ruined
should
that
have been
match.
simple. Stinger
They
splash, Scorpion death drop, Scorpion
Right.
deathlock. Get out of
Hogan
there.
taps. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and that's
They
it.
smart.
WWE didn't make the whole story about
Smart.
the ref 3 count. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Tyson does it quick. Boom, new champ. Everybody's
Hogan
happy.
buried everybody,
Boom, out the door.
and he buried Bret Hart again. Not the
Yeah.
first time he's done it. He buried him back in WWF when the whole story with Vince. You know, Bret
Oh,
Hart.
and Yokozuna. Yeah,
Yeah,
back
he
in
buried Yokozuna because he like, well, I have to get the title because he
Yeah,
didn't want him going to WCW. That whole
and
story.
then it
Talking about
was
Yoko?
supposedly so Hogan could go to Europe with the title.
Yeah, that was the
And
reason.
he never
and
went
then
to Europe with the title.
Never did the tour. Dropped the belt to Yoko and fucked off. You know?
Yoko is still fighting with the
Yoko.
title.
Yeah.
Yo, Yoko, you guys remember Yokozuna when he, like I think he started with Fuji and then he went to his real character as Rodney, like that. And then he did that interview and he did like that whole shit, like, yo, I'm here to beat up, and I'm like, yo, since when Yokozuna is ghetto, you know,
For real?
or whatever. I don't know
even
if you guys remember that.
Yokozuna cut a promo?
Yeah, when he split with Fuji,
Fuji. Oh.
yeah,
This is
he did
later.
he
This would
did
be
a
later.
promo, right?
Isn't he
Yeah.
a part of the bloodline?
I mean,
Yokozuna, yeah, he's cousins
yeah,
with
he's a cousin. Yeah, he's a
he's
Rodney.
cousin with Roman Reigns and The
Right.
Rock.
Yeah, that's
he's
what I
part
thought.
Anawahi family. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
so
he
he's
wasn't
got
really
the hood.
Japanese. He was Polynesian.
No.
Yeah.
no, he wasn't Japanese, but he
That's
got it
what I'm
over
saying.
somehow.
Yeah,
When he
close
cut that
enough,
promo,
right?
I was like, "What the hell?"
Those were the
This like
90s,
Yokozuna?
baby.
Yeah, he was like, "Yo," I thought he was gonna say the N word or something. He's like, "Yo,
Mhm.
I'm
Pull a
here."
Booker T.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Yo," that's Yokozuna. But you know,
Yokozuna's hood.
he's Polynesian.
Yeah,
I was like, "All right, my
That was
peoples."
later in his
Right.
run.
Right.
Yeah, because that might have been right before he got let go. Because he got let go because he was so big and he got bigger.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And-
when Cornette was managing Yokozuna.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cornette talked about they sent him to
those were
like a
days.
weight loss center in
And he gained
somewhere in the
weight?
country, and he gained weight. Yeah,
He gained weight.
Cornette is like,
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
come on,
we
Yoko.
can't fix this.
I think there's a documentary on it with his Rodney Inoue, I believe his name is.
Yeah. Oh no,
Is
I've
it?
seen all those A&E.
Yeah,
They got a few
man.
new ones out right now. They
One
do
of the
Randy
best
Yeah.
big man wrestlers that I ever seen. The dude can move, man.
Yeah,
Tonight-
mean,
not
Yokozuna
tonight.
was athletic as hell.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
part of the
and
gang.
Brett, even Brett and Undertaker and all of them were like, Yoko
Yeah, they
was
could
a
all work
cat.
with him. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, yeah, that he moved like a cat. He moved all that weight somehow.
Yeah, he was amazing.
And I was impressed. I mean, and he debuted. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah,
and he
I remember
beat-
watching
yeah,
that
he
dude when I was a
beat-
kid. I was like, nobody's
Oh.
beating Yokozuna. Like,
Yeah.
this dude is the champ.
It's like how
What
you
was-
do like for his weight, like you went on the ropes, left, right.
Yeah,
leg
no, he was
drop,
agile.
like-
He moved well. He moved
Wow.
well.
Even Hogan can't even do that. Hogan goes like halfway and then does the leg drop. Yokozuna, 450, 500 pounds. Click, 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 click. Wow.
Boom.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like
he
you were
was
saying,
solid.
Hogan totally took that spot from Bret Hart back in, was it 93?
Yeah.
It was SummerSlam 93.
SummerSlam
It's supposed
93.
to be Hogan and Bret Hart, and Vince told Bret the finish is going to be, oh, don't worry, you can put him in the sharpshooter, he's going to tap out.
Mm.
Yeah, and like he's never tapped out.
Damn,
Not even
Hogan.
like he's going to submit. It didn't do tap
Yeah,
outs then.
They didn't have tap outs.
But
back
yeah,
then.
he's
Yep.
going to submit to your finish. But I haven't talked to Terry yet. I'm like, and Bret's like, why didn't you talk to Terry first? Oh, don't worry, he'll agree to it. And then he's like,
Yeah.
3 days later, oh no, he didn't agree to it. Sorry.
It's
We're gonna do
so
something else."
cool getting to kind of hear all the inside scoops from what was going on back then when we were all watching and all the politics and all the stuff that was
yeah.
going on behind the scenes. It's cool to hear those stories. Looking
Yeah,
back
that's
on
what
it,
I love
like-
those stories.
I
man.
can
Well,
listen to like
Well-
wrestling talk, like classic wrestling talk for hours.
Let me ask you
So
guys a
good.
question. So I've been on the internet since '93. Because back
didn't
that
know it was
time I had
around.
one of my buddies. He had Prodigy. So
I remember Prodigy.
wow, yo, so I remember
That's old
like,
school, man. Some
Yes.
Prodigy on the IBM.
yes, and then so we used to log on to this website. We don't recall, but they had back then it was so different. It was the newsletter, maybe
Yeah,
we
they
even
just-
read Meltzer's newsletter, but to hear the stuff that happened back then, it's like wow, like
Yeah,
the politicking.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's incredible listening to all that
Hogan.
stuff. Like Bruce Pritchard's podcast, like he's got a lot of good
Hmm.
stories on there, man. And obviously Jim Cornette's podcast, great stories. I mean, like if you just like classic wrestling history, like those are two of the best ones, I
Yeah,
think.
Cornette will tell. He's like a wrestling encyclopedia. He
Yeah,
can just
it is,
spit it
man.
out like this.
I love Cornette. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. Cornette, it took
Yeah.
me a while to I don't know, because I guess I always see him as the character, but man, this dude is like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah, I didn't appreciate him enough back
Yeah.
when he was actually working in the WWE.
Yeah.
and if you look at all
I
these
didn't either.
I
documentaries,
appreciate him a lot more now as an adult. You know what I mean?
yeah, and if you look at these documentaries of wrestling, you have
He's
to
in
have
every one.
Cornette, 'cause he knows.
He's
He
in
knows
every one of
something.
them.
Right.
He's attached to so many
Right.
top guys. Like
They're like,
Yeah,
yo,
the dark
he's
side of the
attached to
rings.
Randy Orton,
Right.
Lesnar,
Yeah, he trained
Batista,
all these-
Cena. He's attached to Kane. He taught Kane how to do. He's attached to all these
It was
guys. These
the
top
Kane
guys.
gimmick. I think the Kane gimmick was his idea. The idea
The
was
gimmick was his or Bruce's idea, but Cornette was like how to execute it in the ring.
Yeah, he perfected it. Yeah. Yeah, because he thought he should have been like Michael Myers or Jason or something and walk out really slowly and rip off the cage door.
Yeah, that was
Which he
I
did.
watched that live, man.
Yeah, I
did too, and it's like-
Holy shit, that's gotta be
Hell in
Kane.
the
That's
Cell.
gotta be.
And what's
Kane.
funny again, I could have sworn that's got to be Kane was said by JR, but I watched
It's
it
Vince,
recently.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I think
Vince.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
it's
gotta
Vince.
be
Vince.
Kane. You gotta
I'm
be
like, holy
Kane.
crap! I forgot he was still on commentary back.
Yeah,
But I
Vince
thought
was
he
on
had.
commentary back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was towards
that
the end
was
of his run on
I
commentary.
think that's
so
Kane.
cool.
I think that's
I
And was
could've
that
sworn
the
it was
first
JR.
Hell in the? Was that the very first Hell in the Cell match?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
with Shawn
Undertaker
Michaels
and
and
Shawn
Bad
Taker.
Blood. Yeah, Bad Blood. 96 or 97.
And of course, Shawn Michaels had to go over because he's bitching at Vince. He didn't want to drop the belt to Taker or whatever. So
Hey,
okay,
hey,
let's just do
my
this
boy
with Kane.
Shawn.
They're like, we need, yeah, man. But
We
yeah,
need some way to put over Shawn, even though he shouldn't beat Taker. But
Yeah, so we'll have this monster come out and pile drive
Debut, yeah.
Undertaker and give Shawn the pin, which I guess
Yeah.
makes everybody happy, But
I mean that time that was the golden era of wrestling in terms of the Attitude Era and us growing up. Like I mean, I was a teenager and even in general, I think that's one of the few times where people said, "Yo, it's cool to be a wrestling fan."
hell yeah,
yeah, back then, yeah.
All that nonsense.
Now it's cool.
it was like 10
it-
million
that-
people were watching wrestling every week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, back in the late
They
'90s.
were,
Oh, yeah.
they were on par with like the NFL. It was crazy for that
The
period. of time.
ratings,
At
yeah.
one point, I think Raw
They
at
were
one
beating
point
every
getting
sport but NFL.
the NFL. Raw's getting higher ratings than Monday Night Football at that time.
Yeah, it was.
I think they beat the NBA a
Yeah,
few
they
times.
crushed
Yeah, they
every sport.
Crush the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Now
time.
these days we're lucky that SmackDown gets a couple million, and it's like, oh wow, what a great
I know,
rating
right?
this week. Like,
I mean, we live in a
Like, you
different
don't remember.
times.
yeah,
You
and there's so
don't remember what it
many
used to
different
be.
channels, and the
It
internet's
was
around.
different
Nobody
Yeah,
really
times.
where you'd be
watches.
like recording it on one TV and watching on the other TV,
Right.
like trading tapes and stuff like it was just we were very lucky, very fortunate to grow up in that time during wrestling, to where we were at that age where it was still
yes,
everything
and
was
I
so
saw-
larger than life, and it was
And-
just
Big
it was
time.
incredible.
I saw
And like
this
you said,
kid.
it was mainstream. It was cool. You could walk around with a
Yeah.
Stone Cold shirt, and people would be
Yeah.
like, "Hell yeah, brother!" You know what I mean? Like it was a fun time.
And I saw
And I
this
think
kid.
that's what we all wanted when AEW, like maybe we
Yeah,
could
that's-
get a little bit, a fraction of what it was.
Yeah, I
like.
was hoping. I mean, Cody was there, like I said, and Jericho, and I hated the Elite, but I was like, okay, they
Nah,
have
yeah,
to
they
be there,
suck.
whatever. I don't care.
Yeah,
As long,
exactly. It's just
but as soon as I actually ordered that first pay per view they did, I forget what it's called right now, and that
Double or
first
nothing.
match,
Was it double
yeah,
or nothing or all?
it
in?
was. It was double or one of those fucking things, and they had like this tournament for it was some kind of match for like a world title shot. The first match, and
Was it the
they
one with the
had-
guy with no legs?
yes, I
Yeah.
saw that. I'm like, this isn't good. This is terrible.
It was a taste of things to come. It was
Yes.
like brilliant
And
foreshadowing.
I knew like, ah, shit, we're fucked. And
Yeah.
JR had to make an excuse like, oh well, we're inclusive here in AEW.
Yeah,
we
poor
everybody.
JR had to put all
Yeah.
that bullshit over.
And
Yeah, I
you
don't
saw
know.
you was gonna tell a story. You saw a kid
Oh yeah. I saw a kid on Twitter talking about how I think it was the Hogan Andre match. Like, oh, that was mid, whatever that means. I
Oh,
guess that's that's mediocre or something for the
Didn't
for the
have
Gen
enough
Zers.
Canadian destroyers in it.
yo,
Yeah, it was mid,
wow. I
and
don't
I'm
think
like,
they
They don't
understood.
understand the business.
Right, they don't
no,
understand.
They don't understand what
Right,
this is all about.
right.
yeah,
They think it's
it was
about fake fighting, and I hate to put it that way, but
pro wrestling.
that's
It's
just
video game
that's
wrestling.
the crescendo to everything else that's going on.
The video games we all played as millennials and stuff back, the No Mercies and the SmackDown versus
Oh, the
Raws
WrestleMania
and
64.
Oh
that
yeah,
game, yeah, all those games we played, which we all loved, today is ruined wrestling because now they think that's what wrestling is. The younger
right.
generation,
Yeah, you're kind of right, man, because that's the type of shit you would do in those games.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
random moves and chair shots and furniture and all that stuff,
Tables.
tables.
And I
Yeah,
always say,
bro.
like, I've been watching. Let me tell you something. I've been watching wrestling. I'll be honest with you, but if I could remember 1 years old, because in Puerto Rico, we had Sundays, we had like that 3 hour block where we had our own
Mhm.
wrestling promotion with Carlos Colon. We had WWE and then I believe NWA. So
NWA, yeah.
right, and it's funny because we talking about early 80s in Puerto Rico. We knew who was Ric Flair. We knew that he was not in WWE. He was not in that territory. But for him to come to Puerto Rico and fight Carlos Colon,
He's the NWA champion, wasn't he?
Man,
Last
right?
I
time,
can
yeah,
understand why
that's
wrestling's
a
so
big deal.
popular in Puerto Rico. Hearing that,
Oh
you
yeah,
got a 3 hour block of that wrestling every week. I can
oh
see how
yeah.
that
Well, we the
cultivated a fan
original, we the
base.
original ECW. I keep saying one of
Yeah,
the reasons why ECW resonated with me is because in Puerto Rico we had Abdullah the Butcher,
Yeah,
Carlos
Abdullah the
Colon, the
Butcher,
he
Invaders,
Bruiser.
and
Bruiser
Abdullah. You
Brody.
see his
He
forehead?
would travel down there all the time.
Yeah, his forehead is like a fork. Like
Yeah, it's
you really
permanently
could
Yeah,
do it.
Abdullah.
scarred.
Yeah,
And
he's a
Carlos Colon too. He got like 10 of them. Like, but they
well.
that's the
New
difference
Jack was like
between
that too.
right, and that's the difference between like we go back to Darby Allin. We could understand the sacrifice you make jumping, but you got to keep in mind the scars that you have in wrestling, like Carlos and Abdullah, they tell a story. Your
Yeah,
scars, nobody's gonna remember your story. Like what you did, what for what exactly, you know. And
yeah.
that's just my
There's
take.
no
They don't,
reason.
they do it
Hmm
for no reason. They just
Right,
hurt each other
Again,
for
it's
no
the
reason.
video game wrestling. It's the
right.
video game wrestling. They all played the games like we did, and they say, okay, this is what wrestling is, right?
Mhm.
Omega. He never formally trained to be a wrestler. He just
Yeah,
saw the video games and is like, oh,
Right.
I'm gonna do
duplicate
this,
the
and
moves that he did
yeah,
in the video game. Yeah,
like he's a fool, And the Bucks, who I don't know who I hate more, the Bucks or Omega. At
I say
least
the Bucks.
definitely the Bucks.
Bucks,
yeah,
yeah. The Bucks.
because Omega's a good enough athlete where if he ever went to WWE, if
Omega
he's
actually looks like he could win a fight
yeah,
against
and the
another
Bucks are
man.
like the Bucks are doing this shit. Like I have more muscles than them, and I've been in the gym
Yeah,
in
but
years.
the Bucks are just pathetic dweebs.
Yeah, they're dorks.
Oh
But
man, you saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I hated that I had to admit this, but I did laugh when they were doing the Tony Khan
oh
impression
yeah,
on
yeah,
Dynamite. I was like,
Oh my
that's pretty
god.
good. Oh fuck, I hate myself.
yeah.
Because it
I'm
reminded me, like on Cornette when Brian Last does the impression where he's like, "Thanks, guys." Like they did that.
yeah,
Like they basically copied Brian Last's impression from the Cornette
yeah. I think they were
podcast.
trying
So they
to because
listen. They're listening to Cornette
oh, they
too.
definitely listen to the show. I'm sure they listen every week to
So
Cornette.
I wanna give myself an out and say that's why it popped me because it reminded me of Cornette's
Yeah.
podcast. But
And it's like
nonetheless, it did. I hate to admit it, guys, but
they like
the Bucks made me
they
laugh.
did that. They okay, fine. I looked at it like it's like it's the Bucks. I was
Right.
falling asleep, and then I saw the Okada debut. Like, oh wow, Okada. Okay, let me see this. He looks like a star. Holy shit! I
Yeah, he
mean, he was
does.
dressed
Right,
well.
right.
Like, okay. Then he does the heel turn and joins up with becomes lackey of the Bucks. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? I know he doesn't know any English, but do what
Yeah.
they did when WWE does Nakamura today. Just have him backstage and put the
It sucks
subtitles.
that AEW doesn't have any good managers to put these guys over.
Oh, that
Yeah.
too. He could use a manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
there's
that's for
no
sure.
good managers in AEW.
Yeah.
Unless
WWE
you
doesn't
like
have it either.
Nana
But
dancing, which that is what it is. But
Nana is just he doesn't really
it kind of
talk,
got
does he? He just
Swerve more
dances.
over.
Yeah,
he
and then,
kind of did.
it goes back to like how important managers were to wrestlers. I mean, I was
Yeah.
just watching. I think it was Miss Perfect that posted Ultimate Warrior with Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan, and you
Bobby
know
worked.
when you grab these wrestlers like Vanilla, well, Okada is a good wrestler, but let's just say you need a mouthpiece. I mean, that's why you got Paul Heyman, the greatest. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's
You
none of
know,
Paul Lee's going
you
in the
need
Hall of Fame,
something.
which is
I
something I
mean,
get to as well.
ooh, Paul Heyman. I'm a Paulie guy. Let's
Yeah,
go.
dude. Paul's top 3
That's
managers.
my guy.
I always
I don't
end
know
up
how to put
calling
them in
him.
order. It's Cornette, Heenan, and Heyman. I really
Yeah, but
I can't put them in order.
I can't.
They're just
I
the
think
I
three.
grew up. I grew up watching Bobby and Paul,
yeah.
so I probably put Bobby
Yeah,
1, Paul
Bobby was
2,
my
Cornette 3.
first favorite
You know,
manager.
and
For
you know
sure.
what made Bobby good because when he was an announcer, him and Gorilla Monsoon, and when he went, Bobby Heenan was oh my goodness. And the mic was like, what are you talking about, Gorilla? What do
Bro,
you
he could
see?
just
He cheated.
yeah, the one-liners
Yeah,
that
but
he would spit
Right.
out.
Be like, I didn't. What you mean? What cheat? Can you can't even spell cheat?
Yeah, he's so good on commentary too.
Right.
But yeah, that was back when managers actually like would try to like get their wrestlers over
Oh yeah.
instead of getting. Now they're just trying to
manager.
get themselves over,
Right.
and the wrestlers
Yeah,
just kind
there's
of
not
standing
many
there.
managers in wrestling, which is tough
Mm.
because Paul Lee's in WWE. Who's in AEW would be a good manager
There's
for Okada.
none. There's
Yeah,
Don
Yeah,
Callis, which
I don't.
I don't enjoy him. I don't.
Okay.
He sucks. Like I said, Nana
Yeah.
just dances. He doesn't talk.
he doesn't do
Uh,
anything. Yeah, other
Stokely
than
Hathaway is diddling with the
probably the
girls.
probably
I
with
mean,
the he's probably the
there's
best.
nothing. Dan Lambert
Stokely's
was a decent manager back when they had American Top Team there, and Dan Lambert
yeah.
was
Oh
very
They
yeah.
good
had that
company.
short run. Yeah.
That made me laugh. But there's nothing even close to like a Paul Heyman on that show.
No.
And I know their
I
fans like to think Don Callis is, but that dude
Nah.
sucks.
No,
Like
he's
that
not.
dude
He's not
sucks.
Paul
Like
Lee. He's
nothing
not.
he says ever pops me. Like I don't have any heat with you.
Jim
Dude.
Cornette calls him Don Fallis. So it's
Yeah,
like,
dude, he's not good. I don't get it. I don't get the hype with Callis. But yeah, I
that's
mean,
it.
guys like Okada need managers.
He would need somebody. I don't know. That's why. Or you do what you did. WWE does in Nakamura. Just have him backstage cutting a promo in Japanese and put the English
Yeah,
subtitles there.
subtitles exactly. That works. You know, that gets
It's
it's not the best way, but it works. It gets your message.
I'm
across
sure
to the audience.
if WWE would have signed Okada, that's what they'd done with him.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because they wanted Okada, but not for $4.5
not for
million
that
a year.
money.
He was like, "Oh, good luck over there, man, with the mark." You know.
Yeah, Tony just overpaid him to be like, "No, I got Okada. It's like that's basically what it was."
Then he
like,
don't know what to do with
I
him.
got him, and you didn't.
He didn't know what to do with him, so it's like, "Oh, make him Matt and Nick's fucking lackey," which is what he is now, basically.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to be a star.
14
like,
million.
Right.
He's supposed to be a star. His agent got him his agent's a genius. Yeah, it's like I couldn't.
Tony's got to be paying $100 million in wrestling payroll every year.
There's no way he's turning a profit. There's no way that man is turning a profit.
Well, even Meltzer said that he's not, but I guess there's a new TV deal coming up where that will make the company profitable.
That's what Tony Khan
keeps saying.
saying.
Anything's been signed yet. I don't
no,
think
not yet. There's no TV deal. I think
thinking.
the TV contract expires at the end of the year, and he still doesn't have a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery.
No. We'll see at the upfronts when they do like the cable upfronts in like August.
Yeah, they'll come out with the fall schedule.
See if they feature him. But
because he's screwed. If Warner Brothers Discovery is losing money hand over fist, they're talking about filing for bankruptcy.
Stock price? It's like $8.
Yeah. They're talking about filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Right, and then that's my thing is this. So my understanding. So Time Warner. So they own HBO, right?
They own HBO,
right,
Discovery,
so
TNT, TBS.
Right, so why not do like a pay-per-view on HBO? I mean, on Max, or something. I don't know.
That's what Tony wants. Tony eventually wants to move to Max.
I would like to have them because I have HBO Max, so that would actually work for me pretty good. So I'd be happy.
Tony Khan is like.
Tony Khan wants to move. They're going to do pay-per-views every month. Nobody's going to be buying these things.
No,
$50 a month.
They need to do.
That was like. That worked 30 years ago, not today.
Right.
Yeah, not today.
Nobody else has
they
money.
need to make a deal with HBO Max. I think that's like $10 a month. Have
Yeah.
all the pay-per-views stream live on HBO. Get rid of fucking Bleacher Report every time They have a pay-per-view.
Oh, Bleacher Report
People are saying this
sucks,
shit
bro.
don't work.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading that.
I've never used it, but I just hear bad things about it literally every.
Oh,
pay-per-view.
people order the
Every
pay-per-views there
pay-per-view
every
is
time, and
crashing
it
for
goes
somebody.
wrong.
They need to get
Yeah.
rid
And
of
I'm
that
like,
shit.
Tony needs to. That's why he's trying to move it to Max, but
You have
I think
to,
he's looking
bro.
for way too much money. Tony's
Alright.
looking for the rights
Right.
fees, like double or triple what he's getting now. And I'm like, that's not
Right.
gonna happen.
Nah.
Not with Warner
Not
Brothers
with
Discovery going
800,000
down.
people watching every week, bro.
Right.
800,000.
Warner
You
Brothers
could just put a
Discovery
movie on. You could put on
Yeah.
a movie and get that.
and get more
So-
people watching.
So let me all right. So let me do the calculation. Is it safe to say, right, that 30,000 AEW fans were signed to Max on just that?
They would need a lot more than 30,000 for that to be profitable.
I could see most of their audience ordering Max just to watch the pay-per-views because they do have a loyal audience, even though it's small, but it's still loyal. So most of them probably would pay the $10 for Max, and it's cheaper to watch the pay-per-views than pay $50 a month.
So yeah, we're talking about 300,000 per month. Yeah, they definitely need more than that because 300,000 and that's not going to cover anything. That's like one show's live event, if anything.
I don't think HBO Max would be pleased with that number. They need all 800,000 coming over, and even that's kind of pathetic, bro. Like,
and that's if they got jobs, right?
1 million people.
Yeah, Tony is
They got
overestimating.
the rich audience.
Yeah, Tony is overestimating his hand here. He thinks that he's going to get an increase
man.
just because he gets a decent rating, which he's overplaying his hand.
Like, if you combine all three of their shows, Collision, Rampage, and Dynamite, I don't even think they get as much as Raw does every week. Raw does about like 1.5 to 1.8. 800,000, 300,000, 400,000. That's about 1.5 million AEW programming.
And it's
about 1.5 million a week. They need to do something with Rampage. Honestly, I'd be happy.
Cancel it.
I'd be happy if they just made Rampage the girl show, and just do only girl stuff on Rampage. Let them have their own hour to where they can tell stories and have their girl matches. I would find that more entertaining than what they're doing now on Rampage.
That could work. Rampage is basically Sunday Night Heat.
If you're gonna have all these girls, I guarantee you, Soraya's making $1 million.
Oh yeah, she has to be making $1 million.
They're making a lot of money. They need to use these girls.
Yeah, and they're just sitting around.
It can't get any worse. Rampage can't get any worse.
I forgot Paige was even in AEW. When's
the
last time
she's making $1 million. Her brother's probably making more money than he's ever seen in his entire life.
They signed her fucking brother.
Yeah, bro, he's all elite.
Oh wow,
Zach Zodiac or whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah,
I didn't even. When's the last time they used that?
He got a graphic and everything. He's just been following Saraya around on like Rampage and Collision, but. The girls need to have their own show.
That can work.
Let them have that hour of Rampage. It can't get any worse.
Yeah.
And just let them have their matches and tell their stories.
Right now, Rampage,
people will tune in just for the eye candy. Like, I'm gonna get an hour of nice ass. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, guys will watch that shit, especially these AEW like incels.
Yeah,
so
they'll definitely watch.
If I was Tony, I would make Rampage all just the girl show.
Or cancel
Have it on after Dynamite. Let them do their shit.
Or cancel it, or do something with it. It's not working right now.
What they're doing now is just there's
how many shows they got?
Reason to watch it.
3. They have Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. 3.
Yeah, and Rampage. Which one is the one? Didn't they have one like YouTube exclusive, like Blackout?
They can't. Dark. They canceled Dark.
Oh wow!
They moved all those people to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Because
nobody watches that either.
Tony bought for no reason. He bought Ring of Honor, which I still don't understand why he bought it. What are you gonna do with it?
Just to say that he bought it, bro. Like you saw him mark out when he was like, "Oh, I bought Ring of Honor." Like he's like, "I stole it from WWE." That's all this is to him. Like
WWE just wanted to tape,
so WWE can't have it. Like
they just wanted the tape library. They wanted it. Yeah, the WWE wanted a tape library. That's why they didn't offer as much to Sinclair.
And then Tony overpaid for it, I'm sure.
And Sinclair is like, oh yeah, here you can have Ring of Honor. Sinclair needed the money anyways.
Probably paid double. Probably paid double what WWE was offering. At least.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and Tony's like, oh, I got Ring of Honor. What are you gonna do with it? It's like, well,
that's the first thing I said when I saw that. I was like,
matches every Thursday.
I was like, what? I mean,
is he booking Ring of Honor too?
Watching that. You got to be
Is he booking?
dedicated AEW.
I don't think
fan
he's booking it. I
to
don't.
watch
I
Who's
don't.
that.
booking Ring of Honor? Is it Tony? I hope not, because he has way
Chat
too much on his
No.
plate.
GPT is booking Ring of Honor, bro. Like he's
I
just
would.
just a match simulator, bro. There's no
Yeah.
stories on that show. It's just like 20 matches of indie
And
talent.
I enjoy, like I enjoy Ring of Honor. And one of the saddest, and I don't know if you guys ever talked about this. To me, one of the probably hardest things
Good
was
question.
when Jay Briscoe passed away. Was it Jay
Yeah,
Briscoe?
you had the car accident. Yeah,
Right. And to me, to me, it
one
took
of the
me.
Briscoes.
Yeah, and to me, it took me probably like 2 weeks to get over it because I remember I'm over here in New York City, so
Yeah.
Ring of Honor. It was one of those things that the only reason I would have gone there is because of the Briscoes, because you
Yeah,
hear
they were
good things.
awesome, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when Jay died, I was like, it's one of those stories where you tell people like, "Damn, I wish I could have, I wish I didn't." So with Ring
No,
of Honor,
it's messed up that they never got to wrestle on AEW.
right.
So apparently, somebody at Warner Brothers Discovery didn't like them, or didn't they
Oh yeah,
banned them
because
from
of
that's
television,
what
the
I heard
racist
too.
comments
But like,
something
or
like that. Yeah,
people have
homophobic
done a
comments.
lot worse and been forgiven for it.
Right.
I
Yeah,
never
I
understood
don't.
why
That
they
made no
couldn't let
sense. I'm
that
like,
shit go. Like it was back like when he made a tweet in 09 that was
Right, right.
homophobic. All right,
yeah,
I mean,
let's get over it,
yeah.
guys. But
The
hey, I'm
Briscoes.
sorry, I gotta step away. I gotta use the bathroom right quick. Do you
Okay,
mind?
go ahead. No,
All
go
right,
ahead.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. The Briscoes are the reason why the Bucks have heat with Cornette, if
yeah,
you remember, because the Briscoes, Cornette was using him on top at Ring of Honor. They were going up
right.
against the world's greatest tag team, and those are our two main tag teams. The Bucks they quit TNA for some reason.
Mm,
It's like, oh, now we need a job. It's like, oh fuck, I didn't say I quit
wow.
TNA. I told you to wait a year and then come over, morons. Then they hired
Right,
him. They paid him like 500, $700 a week each, including a plane ticket, by the way, because they
wow.
live in California,
Right,
morons. So they kept coming over and they kept getting used underneath. These are not main eventers. That you're not going to whip the Briscoes or the world's greatest tag team.
right,
So they did eventually. They ended up leaving or something. Where Cornette told them, "Well, we're not giving you a contract, because we don't really need you." And they were pissed off and they said stuff, and that's when their heat began, and they still have it to this day.
and then that's one of my things with like every time like I saw like the card if they came down here to what was it called Manhattan Center was a hot
Oh
spot
yeah.
for the indie. I mean, I went to a ECW show there, and that was wild. Manhattan Center
Well,
was one of those wild places.
they would do Raw there in the early days.
Yeah,
Raw.
in the early
Yeah.
days, yeah, because the crowd. I remember
Yeah.
they did the ECW, the one night stand, the one
Yeah,
and
it was there too. Yeah,
yeah.
they
So yeah, man. My thing
Vince.
with Briscoe was that it's like I never got to see them, man.
Yeah, they were. I was kind of hoping because Vince didn't take tag team wrestling seriously, so it's like there's no way they'll go to WWE, but. Because most tag teams get broken up, and they go on singles runs, and then
Right.
either they become stars or get fired. But it depends. But
So
most
yeah, and my thing is with the Bucks. I mean, was they like piggybacking on the Briscoes?
the Bu- the Bucks
Did
wanted
they
to be
ever
used on
wrestle each
top.
other?
No, Jim Cornette wouldn't let them.
Wow.
I'm talking Ring of Honor when they were all Ring of Honor together when Cornette was booking,
Good on Cornette.
and yeah, and they wanted to be on top, and Jim was like, "You can't beat the Briscoes or the world's greatest tag team in a fight. What am I gonna
Right.
do with you?" They use them underneath, like with the underneath teams, and they were frustrated. And it's like, but they think so highly of themselves, like they're the greatest tag team of all time.
Yeah, I
Which
guess
it
they
also
sold a
pisses,
bunch of T-shirts and they got a little full of themselves.
Yeah.
and they got their egos up because they sold a bunch of T-shirts, and they were
I
their
guarantee
little
you half the
mark.
people that bought those shirts had no idea what that meant. They're just like, ooh, Bullet Club. That
This is the
sounds
main
cool.
event,
Yeah.
Bucks.
They had
I
no
was like, is
clue.
that what
They just saw
The
that
Bullet
shit in
Club
Hot
shirt,
Topic
yeah.
and was like, oh, cool shirt.
Unless it was 50% off, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it's
They
like
didn't have
who?
no clue who the fucking Young Bucks were. They just
No.
liked the shirt.
Yeah, and then they turn around like, "Oh, you see how over we are? We sold all these shirts and made all this money." Yeah, but nobody knew who you were. It's not like all of a sudden there's like young bucks on the shirt, and the people
Yeah.
started buying it and walking around the street. I always called them Generation Me because the first time I saw them was in TNA, and they were
Yeah,
Generation
that's
Me.
such a stupid name.
So I was
But
like,
it,
I
it,
just call
it
them
kind of
Generation Me
epitomizes
sometimes.
who they are. They really
Yeah.
think that highly of themselves.
Whoever came up with that name with them nailed it because it was like,
Yeah.
not sure it was Bischoff or Hogan or somebody, but they were in TNA then, and when they were there, and it's like Generation Me, so that's your name.
Yeah.
They had matches with the Motor City Machine Guns, and they were the first one was I thought was okay, it's good. The rest of them were the same match, and it was like, no,
I
I'm
never
done
got
with
to
these guys.
watch TNA. That was kind of, like I said,
Oh
I
man.
took a pretty long break from wrestling, and I guess I
Yeah,
missed all TNA. I remember my
yeah,
little brother used to watch it, and I was like, "What is this ring? Like it had six
Wow.
sides on it."
it was
I
a
was
gimmick
like,
ring.
"What the fuck?"
It was a
Like
gimmick
wrestling's
because
different.
yeah, Jeff Jarrett was on in Mexico, and when right before they started TNA, it's like let's just bring the 6-sided ring here to the U.S. Problem is the ring was terrible. You couldn't really film it. The mat is way too hard because they had 2 more corners, so that
I
was another
remember
issue.
that.
From what I heard, TNA started off as a weekly pay-per-view show,
Yeah,
It was
right?
yeah.
Wednesdays,
It
ten
was
dollars
when
per week.
$10 per week. There's $40 a month they had you to
Yeah.
pay to watch every week, and it was called NWA TNA, and
Yeah.
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
in the
When
asylum.
Shamrock was their first champ, wasn't
no,
he?
I think
Uh,
Ron Killings. I
Was
believe was
he?
our truth.
our true.
Oh, shit. Mickey.
I would no, I don't think he was the first champion. He
It could have
was.
been Ken.
It
I
might have
thought
been.
they had a tournament on that very first one they did because
It,
I didn't watch it. I just heard people. I think I listened to Jeff Jarrett's
it could have
podcast.
been Ken. I mean, my thing, like I used to watch. Well, I mean, I used to
Was
watch
it Kurt
it.
Angle or Shamrock?
No,
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 Kurt
Kurt
Angle
Angle
would
was
come
came
in
way
later,
after,
Okay, yeah.
way after.
but
It
Kurt Angle came in much later, a few
yeah,
years
way
after that.
But but the thing with TNA, they had the X division that was pretty enjoyable. And the X
What?
division was what the
Yes,
cruiserweight was for WCW.
yeah.
Okay,
They
Kurt's
that's what
were
last
it
the
match.
talent.
was.
You know what I mean? They brought the wrestling.
Kurt
Uh,
Hennig's last match was in TNA. That's true.
Wow, I
oh
didn't
Who
know
do
yeah.
you wrestle? Steph always talks about who you wrestled, but I forgot.
Damn, who could it
So
have
if you,
been?
I don't. She knows.
What
If she's
year
still
would
in the
that have been?
chat,
Oh 05?
No,
Kurt passed in
no, it's
'04, so it would
Oh,
have to
that's
they
be
had to
right.
be before on that same year.
2003, something like that.
Yeah,
I think
2003.
did he wrestle? Why am I forgetting who he wrestled? Steph just always talks about it, but I forget. David Flair.
Oh
He
yeah.
wrestled David
Oh
Flair.
yeah, that's right.
That was his last match in wrestling, which is horrible. David Flair was a shit.
Yeah, he was.
And he's like,
He
that's
didn't
his
even
last
look like
match
he
in wrestling.
belonged in a
Eh,
wrestling ring.
And going back to TNA was the that ground place for a lot of independent wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean Samoa,
Oh, he passed in
AJ.
2003. Sorry, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So who was the first wrestler? I mean, and I know I saw you, Angel. I think you was googling who was the first champion.
Um, yeah,
Was
I
it
was trying to
Ken?
Google it, but the first NWA champion because they didn't have a TNA World Title until much later.
Uh, I
So it's
remember
not
that
like
name. Greg, I mean, you didn't mention nothing about TNA much, but TNA early days, TNA was enjoyable. I'll be honest with you.
I've
Before
listened to
Bishop.
Bruce Pritchard talk about his time there, and it sounded like a lot of fun.
But then
yeah,
Russo came in. You already know Russo.
Yeah.
Jesus crackers.
And then
That dude.
Bischoff and Hogan came in, and they tried to compete with the
It was
WWE
a
again,
faction.
and they got
Everything was a
smashed.
faction, bro. The
Yeah.
bullets of AIDS, something with AIDS, something with
Eights
sex.
and eights. Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Sports Extreme, something. I mean, that was just nonsense. But AJ, I mean, the X Division was pretty cool. They got a couple of people. I remember Mason Red.
Bobby Lashley came through TNA, didn't he?
Well, after.
After.
Yeah.
It was Shamrock, the first champion,
Okay.
Oh, all right, yeah.
because
Still
Dan
got my
Severn
memory working.
Dan Severn was the NWA champion at the time, but he didn't appear on the show, so he got stripped. So
Oh yeah.
Shamrock was the first champion. Once they
NWA,
started-
right? He was like the first
Yeah.
NWA TNA. They
Yeah.
did like a ECW thing. Remember when when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling?
Yeah,
And then Shane won, and they basically kind of tuned and changed it to
Shane dropped the
ECW.
belt.
Dream.
Right.
Yeah.
to
He threw
Extreme.
down the NWA World Title. It was like Is like the
Oh
David
yeah,
the
Shane
Ric
Douglas. That's
Flairs
right.
and the Harley Races
Right.
and all the great NWA champion, and they could all kiss my ass.
Was
We
that
need to
was
move
that
on.
was that before Medusa's famous
Yeah,
garbage?
that was
Yeah, it
like a year or
was.
two before,
Wow.
and then he grabbed. Now I'm the ECW World Champion, and he
Yeah, bro.
called it Extreme.
Shane Douglas was so lame in WWE, and then like in ECW, it was like a
Dean
totally
Douglas.
different breed, man. Like
Dean
Because he
they
did
cut
Douglas.
him loose.
they didn't
He
because
was the
the
professor, wasn't he?
Yeah, Dean Douglas.
Dean
Something Dean
Douglas,
Douglas.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dean
Shane,
Douglas.
it was
Yeah, bro, they buried him. I think he got on the wrong side of the clique,
yes, that's exactly
and
what
they just
happened.
kind of
Yep.
nobody wanted to work with him. I think like
Because he had a
what?
good
Remember he
run.
came out and like they just gave him the belt, and then like he lost it like 20 minutes later on a
Razor beat him
Wait,
instantly.
yep.
they buried him that day, man.
Yeah, it's like
I was just
Shawn
like, I
Michaels
remember
was
watching that
injured.
as a kid, like thinking like something seems off
Yeah,
about
Shane
this,
Douglas.
not
Wow.
realizing
Shawn
like what's really
Michaels.
going on in the back, like all the politics and
I
like,
think this around the time where Shawn Michaels got beat up by the Marine.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So he gave the Intercontinental title to Shane Douglas or Dean Douglas, and then they had a match with Razor, and Razor beat him like in 20 minutes,
Yep, that's
and he barely
exactly
got
what
any
happened.
offense. He barely got any offense,
I
and he
remember my
got
buddy
beat.
had the videotape of that pay per view, and we watched that a lot. So that moment stuck out in my head. Like,
That was like
man, what the?
in your house. Remember those pay-per-views in your
Yeah,
house?
bro.
Yeah, they were
Beware
good.
of
They were
Dog.
2-hour shows. Yeah,
What is it?
Shane Douglas was a
International
teacher.
Incident was one of them. They had some weird names for them in your house pay per views, man.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, Shane was good in ECW. I saw him a couple times in person, and he was like, and then all of a sudden he goes to the WWF, and he's Dean
Dean
Douglas, and
Douglas.
Yeah,
he's no
bro. They
longer in the
neutered him.
franchise. And it was like they as soon as he came in, I think he had a match with X Pac or 1-2-3
Yeah.
Kid then, and they did. Then the Click didn't like the match, and Waltman was like, yeah, he sucks. So he was done
Yep.
he was done at that point, and they killed his
They
career.
had a lot of power, those four guys.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane tried to recover. I think he went to. Did he go to ECW?
He went back to ECW.
Yeah, he went
Yeah, I
back.
mean,
Mhm.
he tried, but I don't know. There was something I enjoyed Dean Douglas. I don't know, for some reason I've always been a mark for villains. That's why I'm a big Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, villain.
Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, sexy boy, whatever.
Yeah.
Dean Douglas, I enjoyed it, but when I hear that story, it kind of breaks my heart. 'Cause he's getting at my boy Shawn, but then Shawn was a DIC, backstage.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Jim Cornette hated him. He's for years. He still hates him.
Oh
yeah. Shane did go to WCW,
Yep.
but
he did.
He had to
he did.
use.
That's right.
Yeah, he's forgettable though. Again, I forgot about it too.
Yeah,
until
he
Steph
must have
mentioned
been
it.
lost in the shuffle.
Who
They
did
had
not
so
go
many
to
guys at one
WCW?
point.
Well,
Who did not go to WCW?
WCW was like Tony Khan today. They signed
Yeah,
everybody.
Right.
just
I always said that.
collecting toys.
I
not
always said
knowing
that.
what the fuck to
They
do
would
with
sign.
them.
They would sign wrestlers just for them not to go to Vince and just pay him to stay
Right.
home for years.
Yep, and it made him bankrupt.
That's exactly part of the reason why they went bankrupt. But they would have gone out of business anyways. I don't think they would have survived because the Turner executives have wanted nothing to do with
Yeah,
wrestling.
it really sucked what happened to them. They got
They would-
railroaded by executives and
even
shit.
if Hogan didn't fuck WCW, they still would have gone down probably. Because
Yeah.
I don't see them surviving.
And you
past
could
the
see it kind of happening in real time too.
Yeah, they were
Eric
going
would
down.
literally go on there and like complain about it and shit. on
And then
the show.
and then you start, and I think I made this on the last, when we was together, is that you
Mhm.
started seeing WCW wrestlers basically mimic WWE. They'll do the chop. They'll do. I think Norman Smiley
Oh.
did some chop.
Shane did the
chop.
franchise gimmick in WCW. Why am I forgetting that?
Yeah. The French.
He did the franchise gimmick in WCW. How
I
did
don't
nothing
remember
with-
him.
Yeah, 'cause
I must have been like full speed WWF at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, because I think
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
either.
Yeah, because I remember, I believe that's when they brought up these ECW guys, Saturn, Raven.
Yeah, they hired WCW hired a bunch of their guys.
I remember
Right, so-
those guys. I
Yes.
do
Right,
remember
so I
those
think it was
guys.
that time where they just tried to kind of emulate or remember
Yeah,
that part of ECW.
WCW.
Oh,
They
Yeah.
took a lot of
It-
guys. Like early
it was
ECW,
2000.
They
It was
got
2000.
raided.
They got
Yeah.
2000. That's why I
Once
wasn't watching
WCW had that
WCW
new
then.
logo, I think I was kind of done at that point. Like I
Right.
just remember that
Shane
new
The long
logo
one.
that sucked.
Shane came in 2000. That's why I didn't know. I
Yeah,
wasn't watching
I
then.
was so done with
Yeah,
WCW
WCW
by
was
then,
dead at that
man.
point.
Like it wasn't even worth. Like I would watch the commercials on WWF at that
Yeah.
point.
Shane, I think Shane was just collecting a check. I don't think because he
Yeah,
knew
it had
WCW
to
was
have been,
dead
man. He knew
anyways.
it wasn't gonna get any
Wasn't
more.
wasn't that when Eric and Russo did a reset thing going
They
on?
reset. Their idea was to
Man,
take to
see,
drop.
I don't even remember that either, man. I must have
They
Oh,
been
that was
reset.
wow.
full
They did the
stop
Millionaires
WWF at
Club
that
against
point.
the New Blood. The Millionaires Club against the New Blood, or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
So
Greg,
they
crazy.
reset the company.
so Greg, so you know how they're gonna do, I believe, a tournament for the tag team.
Yeah,
Lobby?
because of
So
course they are.
WCW basically did the same thing when they had that reset. Oh, we're gonna vacate, and there's gonna
All
be
the
a
titles.
tournament. Yep, for all the
Yeah,
titles.
I've seen like the documentaries about
It's
like the death
stupid.
of WCW, so I
It was
kind of know what
stupid.
happened, but I
Yeah.
don't remember when I don't have any memories of it watching it live. When it
Yeah.
happened.
Well,
So like I said, I must have been like full go
Bishop.
WWF at that point because, like I said, once WCW that new logo, that era of WCW, I have very little memory
well,
of it.
Thunder
That's
killed
time.
him.
Oh,
And I
that
remember
Thunder show.
everything like about WCW before that, so I just think
That Thunder show was awful.
I think I completely stopped watching, man, at that point.
Because as Kevin Nash talked about, Nitro was live, but Thunder's recorded, so they had to write the Nitro shows first. No, they had to
Yeah,
write the Thunder show first, and
yeah,
then
that must have been a pain in the ass.
hopefully everything worked out on Thunder, so on Nitro everything made sense,
So
and it
everything
was
was
like
cohesive. Yeah,
they had to
that was a
write 10 hours
nightmare.
of television every week. That's when Nash was booking WCW.
What
Bischoff left.
Yep.
was Thunder a response to SmackDown or
It had
SmackDown?
yeah.
I
Okay,
thought Thunder came first. Oh wait,
think
that's
no.
what I'm
yeah.
thinking.
A SmackDown was in '99, the first episode, and Thunder was on before that. I think.
I want to
Let
say
me see.
Thunder did come first, but I could also
They-
see them reacting to SmackDown and being like, "Okay, we got to put a show out."
Yeah, because
too.
I know SmackDown put the SmackDown on Thunder literally.
Because I don't,
No,
I vaguely even remember watching Thunder. Like I don't think I
Uh,
watched Thunder that
It
much.
started in '98, January '98.
Thunder.
Yeah.
So and
So
SmackDown.
Thunder was first, and SmackDown.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure started in '99.
Well,
Yeah.
SmackDown was kind of like a thing that I guess they were trying to build up The Rock or something.
Yeah, they
SmackDown.
took the Rock's thing, and it
Made a
started in
show of it.
'99.
Mm.
99, yeah. So April '99, the first episode.
Didn't it debut on UPN? Wasn't that
Yes,
the
it was
channel it was on?
UPN.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first channel, and I remember I would watch it every week, so I knew exactly where it was at.
Well, there was
Yeah,
a time.
I did watch SmackDown. I don't remember watching a lot of episodes of Thunder.
There was a
And
time in the mid 2000 where SmackDown was the better show than Raw when it was on UP9. Because I think Paul
Yeah.
Heyman was
Yes,
one of the
Paul
writers.
Heyman
Yeah,
was
Paul
booking.
Heyman was writing SmackDown.
Right.
Paul Heyman was booking SmackDown. Ultimately, Vince was, approved that it's
Yeah.
Paul who was writing the shows, and that's when Paul created Edge and Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, and he created all these stars. Eddie Guerrero was one of them too.
Mm.
And Vince had no interest in them. He was like,
Yeah,
whatever. You can
Benoit.
have those guys. Benoit's another one. Yeah, he had no interest in these guys. He wasn't using them. So it's like, you want him
Yeah,
on
Paul
SmackDown?
Heyman's
Sure,
the one that
pal, take
started
him.
putting the small guys over because that really
Yeah.
never happened.
Well,
I mean,
if you look
Shawn
at
Michaels is probably the smallest guy, but he wasn't even small either. He was a big guy too.
and then if you look at ECW, that's basically, I mean, look at Taz. I mean, Sabu, small guys. I think wasn't Jericho that started in ECW?
Yeah, a lot of those
started in
guys did.
ECW.
Yeah,
A
Rey
lot of those
Rey
guys.
Mysterio
Yeah,
did
you know
too.
what? That's probably why Heyman booked him that way because he had them before they even went to WCW.
Yeah.
Those were all
knew-
ECW, like Guerrero, Benoit. All those guys
okay.
originally came from ECW before they went to WW
So
or WCW.
Thunder's supposed to be the NWO show. Yeah, that's right. And it never happened, and it
Oh,
was what it was.
remember those that don't Nitro NWO? I mean, I still,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Hey, good old memory. I think next time we do this together, like, I'm gonna have to get an NWO shirt, man. Black and white.
Yeah, I think I have an NWO shirt laying around
Or like-
somewhere.
Do World Order.
Yeah, the NWO was cool, and it was this Hogan, Hall, and Nash. After
Mhm.
they had like 3 limos coming in, and like 80 guys a part of the NWO, it was like
Right.
So
Oh, that
that's
was
way too much.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
They
that got
relied
me
too much on that heel turn, like the NWO heel turn back
here.
then. You know what I mean?
Bischoff even
Like,
said to get somebody over here, the NWO shirt. There you go, you're
Yep.
over. And it
exactly.
got to that point.
And in my understanding, Bischoff got that gimmick from Japan. There was some gimmick
Yeah,
in
he
Japan.
I've
ripped.
heard that, but
I heard that, but
he says he came up with it on his own. He kind of I don't know. It's hard to trust
basically,
anything Bischoff says.
according to Bischoff, the way he came up with it was he had Hall first, then he had Nash came in a week later, and he's like, "Huh, maybe I could do something with this," and imply they're invading from the WWF.
Which I fell for it.
Yeah,
I definitely thought that like
yeah,
something was
I
going
believe.
on.
I
fell for
believed
it.
it too. Because it's happened before where where promoters have told wrestlers, "Hey, I'm paying you. I'll pay you to invade these guys and fuck them up." You know,
Yeah, like guys would go to different territories all the
in the
time.
territory
it's like
days, it was
kind
just
of
shit
just
would
thought
happen.
that was just a bigger version of that, and it was
Yeah.
two top guys too. So it's
So
like, holy shit, WCW. Oh man, God, that was so cool,
Hall.
man.
Oh
Oh,
shit,
that was so
Razor.
cool.
I was like, oh shit, Razor and Diesel and
You know who I
WCW. What the hell's
am, but
going
you
on?
don't know
Right.
why.
Know why I'm
here.
here? And
Fucking
it's like
Right.
he
and
didn't.
off to the races.
It was
This is where
implied.
the big boys play.
Yeah,
Great
like
shit.
look at the adjective in Nash. You know, an idiot. You know, it's a verb, not an adjective. But he's like, look at the adjective. We're not here
Nice.
to play.
I think LA Knight had a callback to that.
Yeah, he
with his
made fun of
promos.
Nash for that.
Because they're Kevin Nash don't like LA Knight for some reason.
I know he calls him a rip off of The Rock and stuff.
Nah.
I mean, honestly, then you could say that Hogan was a ripoff of Billy Graham.
Right.
Yeah, Hogan
So it's
got
like,
was his
just
character
doing-
was inspired
That's
from
kind of what
Billy
wrestling
Graham.
is.
Yeah.
Kevin. That's kind of
Yeah.
what it is.
Because
But, I thought Kevin Nash was a little unfair to LA Knight when he was coming up like that.
And I
agree.
think Kevin Nash is like one of those dudes that think like, all right, so LA Knight, he's doing his thing, but people forget that he pays dues.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know,
LA Knight did definitely.
You know what I mean? So Kevin Nash, maybe he's probably like, oh, maybe he didn't pay his dues and he's getting.
Kevin Nash is one of those too cool for school guys, and he's
yeah.
I don't know. I like Kevin sometimes, but sometimes
right.
He don't put a lot of thought into what he says. I think he just kind of says it to get a reaction. And he's like, "Oh, LA Knight's hot right now. Let's create some controversy."
Right. Yeah.
Who's LA Knight?
It worked. Those are some of the highest videos.
They probably could have named him NY Knight and he still gets pop. Why LA? I'm like, why not?
Yeah, dude. I think Kevin Nash was kind of just trolling a little bit with that.
Nash was like, yeah, he's just kind of like,
Kevin Nash
he's just trolling.
Kind of buried AEW recently when they were asking him if he was going to Sting's final match, and he's like, nah. Not going to AEW.
Apparently he wanted to go, but WWE it's like, no.
Okay, and then he just kind of that's him trying to be too cool for school again. Like he acted like he didn't even want to go.
That's the real story. Apparently,
yeah,
he asked WWE to go, but he's like,
he didn't
no.
get permission.
He's like, no, because the excuse was, well, you're Triple H's good friend. We can't have you on camera there. You know, taking pictures with Sting and stuff.
Right.
It'll embarrass Triple H, you know. So.
Fair enough.
And then he made it. He said, "Oh well, nah, I'm not going."
Yeah, like, bro, you saw.
He wanted to go.
Too cool for school.
He wanted to go to Sting's last match, but it's like because why not? I don't
think
care.
Luger was there. Magnum TA was there.
Luger was there. Magnum.
Was it Koloff? No.
Nikita Koloff was there. Okay. Sting took a bunch of pictures with guys.
Yeah.
Who else? Somebody else.
I found that skit, the one with the voicemail thing. It's like, wow, like that's so new age type of thing. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, Sting. I don't know if anyone ever did that back then. Like, oh, I got a voicemail. Look what they said. You know.
Oh, the vignette.
That little right part of that package.
Okay, I was like, oh yeah, I remember now. I was like,
wait.
Tony Khan did the voicemail gimmick with MJF when he brought him back. Remember?
Yeah,
that's kind of how
it
ended with a voicemail.
It's like, hey,
Tony
MJF, you get whatever you want or something
Tony
like that.
Being
Just
a
come
fucking
back.
mark.
Yeah. I guess that's better than putting screenshots on the socials. Like, go look what this guy said. Look what this guy said.
Yeah, man. Tony's an interesting guy, man.
He's
definitely
a modern day. He's a modern day Herb Abrams. I've said that
Yeah,
before.
he's a
If
he's a wealthier Herb Abrams.
yeah,
But
if Herb Abrams had the money Tony Khan did, that's exactly what he would have done. Just signed up everybody.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I
one,
saw the
one
dark
we're gonna
side of
get
the
a
ring
dark
of
side of
him.
the ring of AEW in about 20
Oh yeah,
years,
we're going
10
to.
years. There's too much meat on that bone
Yeah,
to not
we're
tell
going
that
to.
story. God, I
I'm
mean,
not
you got
sure
CM
when.
Punk, like you could just the unraveling of it all. But
I
I
think
mean,
CM Punk might have. He signed an NDA, but I'm pretty
I just
sure
Tony Khan could keep this going as long, but I mean, I feel like he has to run out of money at some point.
his
Like
dad is going to cut
he's
him
got
off.
to
Nah.
be just like with all
His,
the travel and the production crew and live
his dad,
TV, 2 weeks,
his
2 days
dad.
out of the week, and
Yeah, his father. They own
hotel,
like that. What
airfare,
they own? They own
$100 million a year for
Jacksonville.
talent, renting
Shot
out these buildings, like
Mr. Like Old Man Khan
it
owns the Jacksonville
has to be
Right.
Jaguars,
draining that
I
bank
think he owned like
yeah.
one of the Manchester teams or
And he
England.
owns a team in the
He
Premier
owns
League too.
Fulham. Fulham
Oh,
Fulham, that's what
FC.
it is. Yeah,
They suck, but yeah, he owns them and he owns the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
So I'm sure those two
And I'm
companies
like,
are very profitable.
and I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence must be looking at how much Tony Khan is spending on his wrestlers. Like, where's my cut of that money?
Bro, that
I,
has to factor into these football
yeah,
contracts.
yeah.
It
I
has
mean,
to.
Tony is spending. Your son
I
is spending
mean,
all this money on wrestlers, but I don't get a bigger contract. Is like,
right.
Yeah. Like
How
Trevor
long?
Lawrence is.
that's how he signs these guys. He signs them like they're football players, like to
Mhm.
these
Right.
long contracts for
Mhm.
like exorbitant amounts of money. He has no concept of money, so he's like, "Oh, that's a normal amount to pay somebody, right?" No,
Like
bro,
these
it's
wrestlers'
not.
agents are
You're
like
paying 3-4 times of what the WWE would have paid these guys.
agents. These agents are like, oh, he's a mark. Okay,
Oh
let's
yeah.
ask for
Yeah, bro.
millions. Let's ask him for millions. Oh, he gave us millions. Holy shit! What a
Bro,
mark
some of
this
these
guy was.
guys that are like the Chuck Taylors of the company that are making
Chuckle
like
fuck Taylor.
six figures probably, bro. Like it's fucking crazy.
Thing was great, but I was never a fan of him changing to the Crow lookalike. No, I
Uh,
mean the Crow gimmick
I
it was
love the
so
Crow gimmick. I was
obvious.
a kid though, so I
Uh,
mean, like it was
The
right up my
Crow gimmick
alley.
was
And
like,
they
oh,
used him sparingly, and he always like got the best of the heel. So it was just good storytelling.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I loved it.
As
But
soon
like
as
I
I
said, I
saw
was
that,
like
and I was like, oh,
11 years old.
he's
Right.
ripping off the Crow. I saw
Yeah.
that movie recently, and it's like,
Right. Well, I mean,
They're
it was
remaking it. I
it was
heard.
in that time. It was definitely in
yes,
that
they
time.
are.
And then my thing with him, I remember with Sting when he came out one time from the rafters, he couldn't get his hooked out, so he was
I do
just
remember that.
beating up everybody.
Yeah,
I
You
do
know,
he's
remember
with
that.
he's
Yeah,
like
right,
swinging the
right,
bat while he's still latched.
when he
yeah,
changed to the Crow look. I stopped talking. He stopped talking. I was very happy. Steph wasn't a big fan of Sting either, so it was like I neither
But
was I. But
that's a smart thing to do. Sting wasn't the best talker, so this fit right
no,
into that
right,
character.
right.
Sting
You,
didn't care
Yeah,
about.
you
He
hide
didn't
your
care.
weaknesses.
He
You
didn't
didn't need
care
to say
about
a
wrestling
word.
really. To this day, he didn't care about wrestling. He was like, "What do I gotta do? Okay, fine, I'll do it.
He
Doesn't
was
matter."
he was like a perfect employee. You know what I mean, for the most
yeah,
part. Except
Yeah,
that
he
day he didn't
was.
come in with a tan.
yeah.
Yeah,
That day
Hogan.
he let the
I'm
business
like,
down
I
that
don't
day.
care how much. I don't care whether I like Sting or anybody here likes Sting or in the chat. The right thing was to put the belt on Sting that night clean,
Right.
Yeah,
and Hogan
clean
didn't
as
do
a
it.
whistle.
Yeah,
And
doesn't
they
matter how
overbooked the
much.
shit out of it, and it turned out to be a mess, and it buried like 3 people
And
Yep.
on
it's
the
like
biggest night of the
And
company
it buried the
history.
whole
right.
company. Yeah, it
On
buried
the
the whole
biggest night in
company.
company history.
And that's the sad thing with that Starcade because
That
Starcade was supposed to be the
Starcade
WrestleMania,
'97.
right,
How
Starcade
of
many buys
'97.
did that
WCW.
do? Like 800,000?
It had a
Yeah,
lot of
almost.
Like
I
it did
think
a
almost a
ridiculous
million.
amount
Yeah.
of
yeah.
buys.
Yeah,
And then
and
after that,
everybody wanted to see Sting beat Hogan
right.
Yeah, clean.
clean,
I mean,
and it
that
didn't
was
happen.
supposed to be the payoff.
What happened was the whole match. Hogan took 95% of the match, booted Sting, leg dropped him, and pinned him. That's
Yeah,
what the match. That's what happened,
it
and
was.
and the rest of it was just a clusterfuck after that.
Do you remember on Monday Nitro the next day they'd show just like stills of what happened? They'd never show because they wanted to like resell the pay per view on Tuesday, so you'd only
Yeah.
get like a
Uh-huh.
still shot of what happened, and it'd always be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man, show me a little bit." Because I didn't get to buy all the pay per views like when I was a kid, so I only got
Yeah.
I remember just those stills being so like wanting more. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot believe they're just showing a still
Hey,
photo of the match.
Sting won the WCW title, but they didn't tell you
and they
what the
just have
fucked
little
up
still
finish.
shots of it. And they're like,
Right.
I want to see
Uh,
more.
The
Oh,
fucked up
man.
finish. I'm like, Hogan took 95% of that match. It was ridiculous. Sting got no offense. He just sold and
Honestly, the
sold
way
and
that
sold
day
and
played
sold and
out, though,
sold.
Sting's lucky he even got the belt put on him because it almost sounds like Hogan talked Bischoff into going over that night, which would have been even more insane.
I'm sure
I mean,
Hogan
what would have
wanted to
been
go
worse,
over.
Hogan winning that night or what happened? Like,
That's
I
an
mean,
interesting. I never thought of it. Interesting question.
yeah, I mean, Hogan going
If-
over it would have just been like,
and you already know
okay,
it.
now what?
And with Hogan, he got that bad taste when he dropped the title to Ultimate Warrior, which was Sting's partner back then.
Yes,
So
the
he's
Blade
probably
Runners,
thinking
right?
the same thing, like, "Are you sure, brothers? This right for the business? Look what happened to Ultimate Warrior."
Yeah, I'm
know?
sure he was saying a lot of that the day of that match, and like
Hey,
I wonder how close it came to like, okay, we're just gonna put Hogan over and we'll figure it out.
Hogan retained. If Hogan would have retained, it's like jumping the shark at that point.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That would have
it would
sucked.
have.
And I'm like,
It would
okay,
have
they
been.
don't have a clue what they're doing, do they? Yeah, that would
Yeah,
have been the.
it would have been like the jump the shark moment. You know?
I mean, if he did retain, though, I think you would have to build like a good build, Hogan and Brett.
Yeah,
After.
I could see.
And
That would have
Brett,
been their only
right. Yeah,
pivot. But it
that
would
would
have
have been the open
buried
pivot.
Sting. They would have been like, "Oh, Sting sucks. They just
Right.
wasted a year on this guy. I'm not investing in him anymore."
Yeah,
So
that would
it
have
would have
buried
been the end
Sting.
of Sting.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
would have
you could have pivoted to Brett and Hogan.
Brett and
Probably made
Hogan,
some money
which
off
and
that.
I'm sure they could have played back to WWF in SummerSlam '93.
Oh,
Hogan,
yeah.
you screwed me once, you're not going to screw me again
bro.
at the World
Right,
Title.
Man,
right.
I almost kind of wish Hogan won now.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
they
It
could
would
have
have
played
paid
off
off
the
for
Summer.
Brett's
I mean-
career, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean they could have done something like that,
That
if
could
they
have been
had the
good,
right
man.
bookers.
That's a
yeah,
good story.
that would have
Angel.
been
We coulda
a good
went
story.
somewhere
I just
with
came
that.
out. I pulled that out of my ass. Like I just
That
thought of
would
it
have
just
been
now. I
good.
was like,
You're right.
Maybe.
Bret Hart career-ending injury was so sad. I hate Goldberg to this day. I couldn't. After Goldberg did that, it
Yeah,
was
man.
like,
That's
nah.
they robbed
I
us of
yeah,
many more years of Bret Hart.
because Brett could have worked another
Yeah, his
5,
Couple of
maybe
style,
years.
6
bro.
years
Couple of
after that.
years,
Yeah,
man.
he could have worked into the
Brett
mid
never got hurt
2000s.
working a match, because he knew
No,
how to wrestle.
he could have
knew
gone
how
to
to work.
TNA. He probably never gone back to WWE working for Vince, but he could have gone TNA, worked with Angle, worked with
Oh,
Samoa
nice.
Joe.
Hell yeah.
I mean, his
Oh,
career, he
man.
could have gone another 10 years probably.
Fucking
In the
Goldberg.
shape
Not
he was
only
in.
did Goldberg drop him on his head during the figure 4 on the pole, then he kicked the
Yeah.
shit out of him.
He kicked the
Really
shit out of him.
turned
Yeah.
the lights off.
That kick,
Yeah,
man.
man.
I hated Goldberg. I mean,
Fuck
even though
Goldberg for that shit.
Goldberg is like, oh, he's undefeated and all this other bullshit. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in Goldberg. Yeah,
It
and that's
wasn't.
another thing that pissed me off. Goldberg never apologized to Brett
No,
either.
he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck Bill Goldberg.
I was a little
Robbing me
Goldberg
of
mark
many
for
more
a
years
couple
of Bret
for a
than Bret
couple of
Hart.
matches. Yeah, but I noticed that Goldberg. I remember when he had that match with William Regal, and he just
William Regal exposed
That
him.
basically
Thing.
turned into a shoot.
William Regal
right.
exposed Goldberg. He exposed him,
Oh,
He did.
and he got fired after that match. William Regal.
Yeah, Goldberg would have been the type of guy that pissed off the boys. Because,
Yeah,
like,
he
who the
exposed-
fuck is this guy? He can't
Even
work,
though-
he can't talk, he can't do shit, and they're
even
strapping
though-
the rocket to him.
Yeah, even though William Regal swears that no, I didn't shoot on him, but
Regal's
believe
the
he
type
did.
of dude to be like, watch this.
yeah, he would have
I'll-
told like, I'm gonna
Watch
expose
this,
this guy, and he
Yep,
did. He exposed him.
he did.
He eventually did the job, but he
I
exposed.
still
him,
watch that match from time to time.
yeah, it was a
It is
weird,
entertaining
awkward
to
fight.
watch that. Because Goldberg
Yeah.
doesn't have a clue what the fuck's going on. And
At
Regal's
all.
just fucking
And then I
being
think,
stubborn as a mule.
and then
Yeah.
my thing with Goldberg, my one of the biggest issue with him is that it's not like how we talk about AEW that there's no performance center. I think WCW had like this the power plant or something like that, and you had like these good wrestlers that would have surrounded Goldberg to make him like a better talker in a mic or whatever. But Goldberg, from my understanding, he's this nonchalant. No, I'm Goldberg now, and he just got over his head. That's why Scott Hall said, Like this
Goldberg
guy,
is
Scott
right?
Hall was like, "You need to beat this guy because he's being booed. You know, it's he's done. You know, if he
yeah.
keeps the title on him,
He was a mark for himself.
Right.
He
definitely."
started
Jericho
thinking.
talked
He
about
started
it.
believing he started believing
Jericho told
everything
the
he was
story
doing
about
was
him.
real.
If you remember, Jericho was doing like the mini Goldberg feud at the time,
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
and he talked shit. And Goldberg caught him at the airport. He's like, "I hope you're happy,
No,
Jericho."
Jericho. They actually got in a fight, and Jericho
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
got him in
and
a
Jericho
headlock.
beat him.
Yeah, Jericho got him in a
Jericho
headlock.
kicked his ass, and it's like,
Yeah,
wait, I mean,
which is crazy because like you look at Jericho now, and you're like, man, I could take that guy. But yeah, back then
Jericho kicked
Jericho
his
could
ass,
fucking
and
fight, man.
when I
No,
heard
I
that, I'm
mean,
like,
well, I mean, ain't Jericho was like or
He
his
wrestled
father
in
was somebody was
Japan.
like a hockey player.
it was Jericho's dad. He's a hockey
Yeah.
player in the
So they probably
NHL.
had
Oh
that
yeah,
goon.
yeah, he knows how to fight. He's been in a few. Jericho's been in a
Yeah,
few.
Oh yeah.
he won. Jericho beat Goldberg. I'm like, in a real fun, I'm like
Yep, I
Goldberg,
heard about
he
that.
can't defend himself. Yeah, he's a
I
big
think I
No.
heard
guy.
that
You know,
on Pritchard's podcast.
yeah,
I put Bruce Pritchard and Jim Cornette over a lot, man. They're entertaining as hell.
But Bruce Pritchard is like he's kind of like a shill for Vince. So no matter what Vince did, it was good by
I feel
definition.
like almost not the opposite, but I feel like Bruce was always the guy that was given plausible deniability. Like Vince protected Bruce from all the bad shit that was really going on, I think.
Yeah,
So I really don't think Bruce was ever really part of all this shit that's going on. Like I actually think he was probably innocent in all this and probably kept away from it on purpose.
I haven't heard his name in any of these lawsuits at
No,
all. I mean,
and I think that was by
yeah.
design. I really do. I think
Yeah.
Vince protected him from a lot of this stuff and kind of kept him out of the loop on stuff
Yeah,
that
so,
could have got him in trouble. So, yeah, Bruce is fine in my book. I don't have a problem with Bruce.
Bruce went to TNA, and they
Bruce sounds
fucked
like a
him
fun
around.
guy to hang out with. He lives,
Yeah.
honestly, Bruce lives in my town. Like, we go to the
Yeah.
same strip club, Heartbreakers, down I-45, Dickinson, Texas.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I mean, like Bruce talked about running for mayor in my town. So yeah,
Goldberg
I
was
love
a
Bruce.
football player.
Bruce is cool as
Goldberg
shit. Man.
was a football player, got hurt and turned to wrestling to stay relevant. Yeah, he
Yeah,
played
more
for
or
the
less.
Falcons.
More or
He played for the
less.
Falcons like 6
It's
seasons.
a man that didn't have any other options. It's almost like The Rock. You
Right.
know? Like
I
don't
think
have
he hurt
anything
his
else to
Goldberg.
do.
What's funny is I remember Goldberg with the Falcons. He hurt his knee or something.
Yeah.
He was done. And then all of a sudden I see him in WCW. I'm like, wait, that's Bill Goldberg. He played for the Falcons. So it's like,
Yeah, I
And
think
then
they even said
I think
that.
he played in college. He played in college in Georgia. So
he played
he
University
played
of
in
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
right. So I think it was one of those things. I think the power plant was in Atlanta or something like that with WCW.
Yeah, he just went there. He happened to be
He
there.
was the
and,
only success story from that
the
place,
power
I
plant.
think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he was a shit worker. So I'm not sure how
Yeah,
much
I know,
success
right?
it was there, but
He was all gimmick, man. He was basically their ultimate warrior.
did Steve McMichael take on Goldberg? I think they had a match, didn't they? McMichael, another football player, that
Another
played in
bad
the NFL.
worker too. You
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Michael. was
Mongo,
good.
man.
Mongo, yeah.
He was like that
Unfortunately-
4 horsemen. I was not a horseman. He was just
Yeah, he
weird.
was in the. He was like
Yeah,
kind
bro.
of the
They would
tag
just shuffle
along.
guys around.
They would
like,
at that point. He was like a tag along.
everybody, half the WCW
Unfortunately,
roster was a
McMichael
horseman.
is dying of ALS. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
so I don't want to
he's still-
shit on him too much, but he wasn't a good wrestler though. He wasn't a good worker.
Oh no, I love Mongo. He was great
Yeah.
commentary. He was great.
Yeah, he
guy,
was good
but
at
it.
he
He brought that
wasn't the
heat.
best. Obviously, he wasn't the best worker, but
Yeah.
This is the match
He was
that
a-
we're gonna make it happen.
I think he's like a Hall of Fame NFL player. I think they
He
put
just
him
got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
They called him. He's like he's not in good shape.
Nice.
I saw him. It's like oh wow.
Well, that's nice.
He
yeah.
does have,
ALS
but at
is
least
a bitch, man.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah, one of my uncles, he has ALS, and he's in
Yeah,
his
it's
40s,
sad.
and,
It's
yeah,
sad.
Yeah. To watch your loved one deteriorate like
Yeah,
that must
man,
be
deteriorate. It's
and then
tough.
just to see like when the beginning of ALS, it's like they know that there's something wrong, but they can't. Once you get
Yeah.
worse, unfortunately, and then in their mind it's like you good, but your body just cannot function. Sad
Sure.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that was McMichael's best match against Kurt.
Yeah, I was
Hennig.
gonna say the same thing. Kurt definitely carried him to a good match.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's just like Goldberg. He's never a good worker. It was like
You think he's
It's
gonna
like-
go to AEW? You think we'll see Goldberg in AEW?
I wouldn't be surprised. Tony's
Right.
such a mark for WCW late '90s that if Goldberg were to ask, "Hey, can I come in and have my last match?" Is like, yeah, of course. So much money.
And I would be
Okay,
surprised if they pit him with Jericho.
Good.
that would,
That'd
yeah,
be fine. I could live with
that would,
that.
yeah,
You
that
I
would
could
know?
live
be.
with that.
I would
Yeah,
have
Um,
bro, they got
assumed
a
they
story
would
to
have.
tell.
I would assume they would have put him with Sting, but he's gone already. So it's like
so
Jericho
Jericho,
makes sense. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Yeah, I would watch
problem is
that.
I'm not sure Jericho want to put him over, but
right, yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, you're
Well,
pretty
I
right
won't
about
be
that,
surprised
man.
if he does. I mean, if it is true that Jericho kind of got the best of Goldberg in that real shoot fight, I wouldn't be surprised if he put him over. Just for the sake of okay, we even.
If Goldberg did
yeah,
come in, you're right, Angel. That's where it should go. Him and Jericho. Let
yeah, it
the
has
two
to.
old guys have their feud. Don't
Eh.
ruin any of the young talent coming up. So yeah, I could live with that if
I
that happened.
I've joked around on this on Twitter, but I'm like, I would make a better booker than Tony Khan. I mean, it's like almost anybody,
Yeah,
any
bro.
old wrestling fan would
Yeah,
be
I
a better
mean,
booker.
yeah, it's like he
We should do we
he
should do a
doesn't
fantasy
understand the
episode.
business. Like he just doesn't
No, we should
he
do a
doesn't he
fantasy
does he
episode
doesn't
on
know
who
what
to book.
wrestling is. Like I
Yeah, how
just
to
Oh
book
yeah.
AEW.
Oh, that'd be fun because we did that. I think with the fantasy book, and come on, we did that. We were the original as a fan, the original fan
Yeah,
book, and I did that a lot. Sting,
yeah,
Undertaker, back in
yeah.
19, you know what I mean?
I would have Sting Undertaker should have happened. I mean, instead
definitely.
Sting went back to TNA or something. It's
Right.
like, really, dude, just have that. Imagine Taker and Sting had the main
Mm,
event at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that'd have been
mm.
Then
awesome.
yeah, instead I forget which WrestleMania it was. Didn't have a contract and they were negotiating with him to do that match with Taker and he went back to TNA instead. I'm like, there's no way TNA offered more money than Vince to do that match, but it's like he went
Yeah.
back to TNA and is like, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it was kind of hard to understand Sting's decisions and why he made them, but
Yeah, I
he did.
guess it was loyalty to Dixie Carter, but at the same time, like, dude, you have it's a dream match, but it's a dream match. And today, Tony Khan has bastardized the term dream match, but it was a
Yeah,
dream match that made sense to happen because we've talked about it for years among wrestling fans. What happened? Sting versus Taker. That'd be a great
Oh
match.
yeah,
What
I
would happen
remember
there?
that. I
It actually
remember.
Crow Sting when he became more like like that, but it was like nope, never happened. By the time Sting got to WWE, Taker was done. He's barely around then, and
didn't he lose to Triple H?
he lost Triple H at WrestleMania. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn, Hunter, you couldn't put him over.
I know, right? Like Hunter needed that win.
Yeah, no, it's like
Fucking
Sting.
asshole.
Come on, Hunter,
He did that just on principle. Like I'm not
yeah,
bringing
I'm sure. Like, oh, WCW
WCW
guy, fuck
guy.
him. I'm gonna beat him. Didn't want to put Undertaker over.
Fair enough.
Maybe that's why Sting didn't come in. But
I mean,
it,
and I still, it still
It would
would be
explain his
weird,
AEW run,
right?
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
another thing. He went
not
30 and
wanting to
0
put anybody over.
in 3 years, and Tony Khan didn't ask him once to put somebody over.
Wow.
Because Tony doesn't understand the business.
I know. You
Nah,
said it
It's
multiple
just
times
it
today,
always comes
tonight.
back to that.
Yeah,
Like God,
at
man.
all. At
I'm
all.
just
he
a
He's
didn't ask
fan,
him.
and I know more about this shit.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. We know it's like, say Sting, I'm paying you all this money. Put over, I
Yeah.
don't know,
He's one of my
MJF
young
or
guys that I plan on,
yeah,
putting over in the next year or two.
put over
You know,
MJF, put over Swerve. I don't know, somebody just put over one or two of my
just to
guys.
say they beat Sting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
MJF especially was a heel asshole. He would have been. All would have crowed about. I'm the only one that beat Sting.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
like,
have been great. That'd have been a great
yeah,
little program they could have
And
yeah,
done.
I thought they will run a little program where Darby, whatever his name is, Allen.
Darby
Uh,
Allin. Yeah,
yeah, he would have. How can I say turn on Sting? That would have been
yeah.
maybe
I bet he
that
beat
would have been a
Sting.
better match than the Young Bucks
Yeah,
last fight.
yeah, that would have been a better match.
And
Honestly,
I
I
think
mean,
Sting could have wrestled this singles match. He
Oh yeah,
basically did. I mean, he
yeah.
basically wrestled the Young Bucks
right.
by himself.
He beat up the Young Bucks by himself, like those two
Yeah, he
morons.
could have put Darby over in his last match.
Yeah.
They could have had a
But
feud.
here's the thing with Darby. We do have to wrap up soon, but here
Oh,
I'd say
yeah.
this about Darby.
He's a fucking
He,
moron.
yeah,
Sorry.
he's that, and also he's having a match next week against Light Switch. Jay White, not Light Switch.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Switchblade.
It's Switchblade. Yeah, I said light switch. It sounds the same. But
Turn 'em
yeah,
off.
he had a match with he's supposed to have a match with him next week in Big Business. Then after that, he's going to climb Mount Everest. I'm like, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm like, you're not climbing Mount Everest,
Hell
or
no.
you could climb it, but I'm
He's
gonna
the
fire
type of
you.
dude that would die out there doing something
Right,
stupid.
right.
Like,
Oh, hell
bro,
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
be careful out there, man. Like,
Yeah.
and he's the type of dude that would go out there and take a dumbass risk and fall off the side of a cliff or some shit. Like,
Right.
And he cut a
honestly, I
promo.
hope that doesn't. But he just
Yeah.
seems like he has the wrong type of mindset. To
Yeah,
be
he
doing
cut a
something
promo on
that
Dynamite.
dangerous
He
that
cut
will
a
kill
promo.
you and not give
Yeah.
a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, there ain't no
Yeah,
mercy up there.
He cut a promo on Dynamite saying that this could be my last appearance next week. I'm gonna give you everything I
like,
got in my last match. Like
dude,
he's
Everest is a beast, man.
Wow.
Like, I don't.
Wow.
I'm like,
can't
okay,
believe Tony Khan's letting him do it.
if
Wow.
I'm booking, it's like, okay, you can climb Mount Everest, but you
Right,
don't have
right.
a job. You don't have a job, you know, just to be clear.
You're off. Yeah, contract.
Yeah, get
void.
out of here.
Yeah.
You jump on that ice and then get out of here.
Yeah, bro, that's insane. But he's the type of
Yeah.
person that would, like I said, he doesn't realize he's their boss.
That's why you can't invest in Darby Allin
He
if you're a
does-
booker.
Tony
because
Khan does not understand that
Yeah,
he's their
I know
boss. and he
it
can
goes
tell
back
him
to that
no.
again, but it goes back to that again. But you
He
can't
wants to be
invest
their
on him if he's a
friends.
booker.
Like D was
Greg,
saying.
did Tony Khan
Wants
ever
to be
block
their
you from
friend.
Twitter X? He blocked you already?
No, he hasn't blocked me. The AEW account blocked me though. The main AEW account blocked me.
I'm only blocked by Meltzer.
I wanted to bring that up
troll
before I
Tony a
wrapped
lot
up.
too, so I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me.
I want to bring up Meltzer blocked me yesterday
I saw that.
because
he's soft.
was-
It don't take much with him.
he was talking shit about Gunther. He had a match with Dominic on Raw, and he
Yeah, I
didn't sell
saw
his
that.
hand.
He
He
didn't
didn't sell his
sell.
hand because he hit the post once. Like I took me out of the match because he didn't sell the hand,
Yeah.
and it's not, I didn't like the match because of that. Even though he loved the
lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, he loved the Osprey take a
The
shit
no
match,
sell
but
fest of Osprey.
yeah,
and Takeshita.
but he hated Gunther's match because he didn't
Right,
sell the
because
hand.
he didn't sell it. Right. I peeped that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
come
then I
on.
pointed that out to him, and he quote tweeted me and responded. And then I don't remember what it was, but I should have saved it.
Oh,
And he blocked me
That's
after
pretty
that.
funny.
Yeah, I
he
saw, I
quote-tweeted
saw
me.
his
He
response.
You know what
Yeah,
he
I
said?
saw his
You know what he
response.
said back?
Yeah.
Something to the effect of, well, I mean, I don't remember what it was. I should have committed it to memory. Me and Steph were talking on that thread, and then I looked for it this morning in order to put it on the show, but he
Yeah.
blocked me. It's like shit. I knew
Wow.
I should have screenshot
I don't know
it
how
or
he could have
something.
argued with your point that you were making though. Like,
I don't know. I mean, he did. He tried to
Yeah, yeah.
defend himself.
Yeah, man, well, that's it. He just should tell you what's his logic when it comes to Meltzer. It's that's why his newsletter is more like propaganda. What I believe.
Yeah, he's a
it
mark.
is,
You know
it
what I
is
mean?
propaganda.
Right.
It's exactly what it is.
Well, Steph, hopefully you'll be on next week, Steph, because we missed you today.
You were missed.
Better. Yeah,
And,
nobody, did we mention Mr. Perfect on tonight? We did mention Mr. Perfect, right?
yeah, we mentioned him,
Okay,
and Steph
look,
mentioned
there you
him.
go.
So it's like,
Great work.
yeah, but we have to wrap up because somebody
I gotta
coming on
go.
10:30.
I gotta go too.
Yeah, we can keep talking. Maybe we'll do this again soon. I don't know.
I'm pretty
With
sure.
Yeah,
Steph back.
I enjoy
With
shooting
Steph
breeze
back,
with you
the,
guys.
the A team. I call this the A team on Twitter.
All the four
yeah.
people. I mean, but I can't in New York. I can't say four horsemen because in
Yeah.
New York, a lot of the pronouns is four people. The four.
Yeah.
People. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right,
we
my
could do
peoples.
this again soon. All right, well, we have to wrap up because somebody else going live in like 20 minutes here, and we got to
Much
go anyway.
love.
So, all right. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out and watching. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. And we're going to see you guys next week for Pro Wrestling Talk, episode 5. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next week. And
Thanks
thank
for
you for
listening.
watching.
You guys enjoy.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
listening to